right, we'll have to figure out now two of these young girls are coming in, and of course, despite the big buzz going on outside the winner's circle here, that's not going to take away from these girls are still going to come up and get their medals and all that for sure. There's Jason there now.
St. John's. Okay, so as you can see, Seamus O'Regan is hanging out here. He's talking to Mark Critch as Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is walking by, shaking hands, kissing babies, doing the thing that such a handsome man with great hair would do. I had the pleasure, of course, to meet him just for a moment. Quick handshake, say hello, welcome into the city. And I mean, I hope my mom was watching, because she would have seen me shake the Prime Minister's hand on live television. That was pretty cool.
Not every day the Prime Minister is in town. I think everyone at Kitty Vitty Lake has forgotten there's a regatta going on.
Yeah, for a little bit. Like, I feel bad for the people who are like, going, getting warmed up or flying down the pond right now and nobody's paying attention. But, like you said, there's been 201 of these.
But you know what? I do want to say a special shout out. I know on stake 3 in the A+ Fitness in the Newfoundland Herald is Christina Ennis. And her grandparents have attended so many regattas, and this is one of the first regattas that they're not able to make it down to. So her pop and her nan, I'm guessing, I want to send a special hello to Pat Ennis and Sarah Murphy. So Pat Ennis and Sarah Murphy, if you're watching, Christina Ennis's grandparents, she's out there rowing her heart out for you, or about to start. So hope you're having a great day, and we miss you here at the pond.
So what we're seeing here from I almost said President Trudeau, Prime Minister Trudeau, is making the rounds, shaking some babies, shaking some hands, kissing some babies, and he's actually going to come back into the winner's circle and have a few words. I was talking to one of his PR people just a few minutes ago, so after he does some of that, we'll have some live footage of him chatting it up to the crowd, talking about how great it is to be here, I'm sure, at the 201st Royal St. John's Regatta.
That is very exciting.
So are you a fan?
Oh, I'm a fan.
We won't, no, not just because he's handsome. Like, we won't get deep into the politics of it, but I mean, for a long time, the last time around, we're clean red, straight across the board, all Liberal. So we'll see if that holds true after he charms a pants off him.
Certainly, and I know we saw Seamus O'Regan is down here with his pal, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, so I wonder if Premier Dwight Ball might be making an appearance too to complete the red
the
circuit.
holy trifecta.
Yes, the trifecta of Liberal politicians. So,
And a little later on, I believe, leader of the opposition, Mr. Ches Crosby, he's going to be around a little bit later on, and he's actually stepping up and getting in the young adult cancer dunk tank.
that is amazing. That is something to see. I'm just going to take a second, even though their names aren't keyed up on the screen. The race number 12, 11 a.m., College of the North Atlantic Female District race, senior female number 5. The crews we have competing here, stake number 1 is the Avalon Animal Hospital, Cox and Tim Clement, stroke Andrea Power. Stake number 2, rowing in the President's Choice. Premium Waste Services is a sponsor. Cox and Jackie Warfield, a name we've heard a few times today, stroke Ashley Daw. Stake number 3 is A Fitness. Coxon, I'm not sure. Their name is not listed in the program. Stroke is Laura Kiley, and I know Christina Ennis is on 5, sending out a big hello to her grandparents, Pat Ennis and Sarah Murphy. Stake number 4, the Oz Network. Coxon, Melissa Organ and the Go Store Petro Services is the sponsor. And stake 5 is the Triple E Painters. Coxon, Kathleen Shea, stroke Julia Elliott. So even though it's not, it is keyed up on the screen. Excellent. So that is the race number 12, female district, College of the North Atlantic Female District. So special shout out to Christina Ennis's grandparents. She is really wishing her pop could be here, Pat Ennis and Sarah Murphy.
Can we talk for a second about buzz, about energy, about the feeling that is around the pond right now? Like look around. There are so many people here.
There are so many people. You know, I think the celebrations of the 200th last year really reinvigorated the regatta. People got excited about rowing again, and it's showing. It's early in the day, and there's tons of people who've been down here already. Maybe the Prime Minister has something to do with it. Maybe it's us.
I think it's most certainly got to be us. I mean, it's got to be us people here at Rogers Television. It's got to be because of the Anglican East Diocese and their sponsorship.
Or the barbecue.
It's got to be because of Home Depot giving us that barbecue. You can go to Ignite Red House up by the pond and win that thing. I mean, it could have been because Hudson and Rex were here. It could have been because of, not Spirit of Newfoundland's catering, because that's mostly just for you and I. And the rest of our dedicated volunteer crew.
It could be the beautiful weather.
It could be the beautiful weather. You know, I won't say I was hesitant, but after the 200, which is obviously massive.
It was so hot last year on Regatta Day.
Oh my, I was literally sticking to the floor, to the tire was melting under my feet. After that big 200th year, in the back of my head, I was a little bit like, I mean, here's Premier Dwight Ball right there. You went ahead and said maybe he'll show up, and there he is.
I looked in my crystal ball.
You did. And you know, it's funny because I want to say, so I met Prime Minister Trudeau, taller than I thought he was going to be. Handsome, taller than I thought he was going to be.
Everyone knows he's handsome. He's just a handsome human. And we've got race number 12 lining up there. We see our camera. We've got cameras speckled around the lake here, and this is the camera at the top of the pond. And stake number 5 is just coming into there, grabbing their toggle is what they're calling those ropes that are attached to the buoys that the coxswain holds onto. And stake number 5 lining up there is Triple E Painters.
So back to what I was saying earlier about having such a big year last year for the 200th. This year I was almost expecting not like a lull, but like how do you keep that cadence? And then I think what you said about re-injecting what is so exciting about this, because there was so much energy last year, and that's carrying over now into the 201st. And I think that's a way better perspective to have on it.
Yeah, I mean, we talked to Bradley Power this morning, who's the captain of the course and the vice president of the Royal St. John's Regatta Committee. And as expected, I mean, everybody and their dog wanted to come home and row in the 200th regatta, and they did. It was a record participation. I think it was like 160 or 156 crews, and so there was a slight drop, and they were expecting that in a non-anniversary year. But, you know, to keep things going, they're putting lots of funding in the youth program, lots of funding in the Learn to Grow program. This huge beautification project.
Oh, massive.
Oh,
I was talking to Seamus O'Regan about that, to Mayor Danny Breen about it. He said this is just phase one. There's more to come. And in talking to Diana earlier about the youthification in rowing right now, you see people who have a legacy of being in this sport year after year. Some of the big names like Ring, King, there's a
Barrington.
lot. Barrington, yeah. You're seeing their children now that are getting into the sport, and you'll probably see the same thing through the Cadigan family, like we spoke about before. Like, there's legacy, and I think you said it best earlier. It's just in your blood.
It's in your blood. It's in your blood. The first Wednesday in August, no matter where you are in the world. I saw a friend earlier who's home from the UK, timed his vacation with his 3 kids around the regatta, coming home for the regatta. Messages from Australia and Alberta and wherever Newfoundlanders are in the world, they know what's going on today, our local holiday. So, unofficial race time of 1:57:58 and counting here. We've got the beautiful drone coverage from Cloudbreaker, and it's a pretty tight race, as most of them are in the women's course on the way down to those turning buoys or kegs, whatever you want to call them.
I think it's important to note for everybody in the audience who's listening, everybody who's talking to you as you're killing it discussing all of this racing, that the amount of people who have walked by, seen you on live television, and waved and said hi, I mean, nobody's doing that for me.
Well, this is
all about you.
You're just a regular host of Out of the Fog, just crushing it every Wednesday, and this is my one day of television per year, so I tell all my friends, my parents, they subscribe to Rogers for this day, so this is a big deal for the Hancock family.
Well, I mean, they could subscribe to Rogers anyway, because there's a great deal on Ignite right now.
Oh, what? Do you want to talk about that deal on Ignite?
Well, I mean, I don't know a great deal about it, but I think it's somewhere in the vicinity of $89.99 for a year. And the thing is deadly. Like, you literally push a button on your remote and you say, like, Sportsnet, and it changes to Sportsnet. Or you say, you could look at the Mount Pearl Anthem on YouTube, and it'll search YouTube for the Mount Pearl Anthem.
Wow, that is impressive. Wow, we've got the turning of the buoys here. Also, safety is paramount at the Royal St. John's Regatta. So you can see at the turning of the buoys, they've got 3 kind of chase boats lined up there. So I believe one is like a VIP boat for people who are spectating the regatta. And at least 2 of them are safety boats to make sure everyone gets around the turn safely. Now, the women's turns the half-course turns are a bit more uneventful because they're further spread apart. But when the lake gets more narrow, and at the full course turns, the men's, there can sometimes be collisions, either if one goes wide and one goes narrow into their turn, or if just the speed, if one person is coming into the turn while another boat is coming out, there can be, a boat might have to yield and give way. So there has been
So
kind
are
of
the rules around that?
Yeah, the boat that is coming into the turn, I believe, has to yield to the faster boat who's coming out. So there are rules, and the coxswains know them all too well, but there have been incidents, and those turns of boats are closely monitored to make sure everyone gets around safely. So we're going up around 4.5 minutes now. Very tight race for race number 12, College of the North Atlantic Female District Race. So the chase boats are following along. It looks like stake 1, 2, and 4 are neck and neck. Stake 3, A Fitness, so that's Christina Ennis's crew, is slightly lagging behind those teams. And then on stake 5, which is closest to us in the bottom of your screen, the Triple E Painters maybe are gaining on A Fitness, but they look to be a bit behind.
Well, as they're crossing in front of the boathouse here near the winner's circle, you can really visualize exactly how tight they are across 1, 2, and 4.
Yeah,
and then about a boat length behind then in the third stake.
You can see there some of the girls in a race this close. They look over to see what's happening in the boat next to them. Now, as a rower in our boat, that would be discouraged, and you would get your head yelled off you if you look at the boat like that. But it's a habit. We all do it. We want to know what's happening in the race.
The coxswain's just screaming, like, head in the boat, right?
Head in the boat. And also, we ask our coxswain to let us know where we are. Where are we sitting in relation to the other boats? Are we behind by a seat? Are we ahead by a seat? How much do we have to catch them by? So then if you can think 6 heads all turning at once, that's a good, 20 pounds a head. What is it they said in Jerry Maguire? The head is the heaviest part of your body, or the brain, or I don't know. You shouldn't do it. You got to look ahead. You should look ahead while you're rowing to keep the balance of the boat.
Because really, you're in a race against the clock.
Exactly.
You have competition, but it's the clock really that matters. That's why somebody in a second heat can beat somebody in the first, and they can end up in the championship. When you're in that final race, sure, you're racing against the people that you're there, but beating the clock to get into the championship is really what the goal is.
Yeah, and last year when we rode, we knew that our race was against the clock, and we had to self-motivate because you always find more to push when you're neck and neck with another crew. But if you have to motivate yourself, it's not, you need to know where you are time-wise in relation to the other people. So great, very tight finish coming across there. Wow.
Very tight
I think that's the closest race we've seen today. Just amazing rowing by all 5 of those crews in intensely pressureful, stressful, sporting situations. So well done to all 5 crews.
So speaking of tight races, one of the men's races a little while ago, they had to go to the footage. Were you paying attention to that? No, I believe you were stalking the Prime Minister at that point in time.
Yeah, that could happen.
So now while we're waiting for some winners to come around, waiting to set up another race, Amanda, let's talk again about some of the wonderful... Are more people waving to you? You are so popular. We'll talk about some of our sponsors. So the Anglican East Diocese as a regatta sponsor. Again, Home Depot, thank you so much for the barbecue that you can all win up at the top of the pond at the Rogers Ignite Red House. You can also play some games there and win some prizes. For instance, when I was up there earlier, I won you some Rogers Ignite sunglasses.
So cool, because it is warm and hot out here, so we are going to take a little break, cool off, and hopefully when we come back, Justin Trudeau will be with us.
No.
Mom, you said it's played again.
Workplace injuries hurt the most at home.
Focused on quality and convenience, there isn't much you won't find at Marie's Mini Mart. Home-style breads, sandwiches, plus a variety of artisan breads and delicious single-serve desserts available exclusively at our Frecker Drive location. Marie's Mini Mart, with 25 locations wherever you go, there we are.
talk about this race. So we have stake number 1, the Miss Tubular. Coxswain is Gloria Brown. Stroke is Tracy Mills. Number 5 is Susan Day. Number 4 in that boat is Krista Steves. Number 3 is Crystal Hayden. Number 2 is Danielle Whelan. Number 1 is Maria Hillier. And their spears are Barb Murphy and Jacqueline Hines. On stake number 2, looks like the Pomerleau. Coxswain is Jim Ring, no stranger to the regatta. Stroke is Patricia Churchill. Number 5 is Kathleen Wall. Number 4 is Barbara Matthews. Number 3 is Tracy Pittman. Number 2 on that boat is Susan Janes. Rowing number 1 is Brenda Noseworthy, and their spear is Susan Byrne. In stake number 3 is Coxswain Jeff Clooney for Iceberg Gold. Stroke is Clara Manning. Number 5 is Nicole Manning. Number 4 is Joanne Cooper. Number 3 is Sarah Sloan. Number 2 is Lorna Brennan. Number 1 in that boat is Nicole McGraw. On stake number 4, Cougar Helicopters. Coxswain is Lenny Williams. Stroke is Krista Cox. Number 5 is Crystal White. Number 4 is Molly Penny. Number 3 is Jill Coburn. Number 2 is Steph Compton. Rowing number 1 is Erica Kellaway. And in stake number 5, and the Jerry Angel, Coxswain is Jackie Warfield. Stroke is Desiree Bennett. Number 5 is Kristen Strickland. Number 4 is Heidi Murphy. Number 3 is Gillum Trainer. Number 2 is Tracy James. Number 1 is Penny Penton, and the spear is Tracy Yetman Oliver. So they're lined up there now, getting ready to go, and we are in race number 13.
All right, so we've got the Universal Corporate Wear lined up behind us to get their medals for race number 12. So hopefully when those medal presentations are done, we'll get to talk to Universal Corporate Wear. And for now, we're watching the boats set off for race number 13, the Rogers Female Club Race. So we see there on the stake 5, closest to our screen, some pink and blue tank tops there, kind of alternating back and forth with the uniforms. Crews get really creative with their uniforms. I mean, there's one crew down here I think is wearing leopard print spandex. So you see all kinds of uniforms.
Stephanie Tuck, Emma Ramsey, Billy Yetman, Alyssa Moores, and Dawn Curran. Presenting the silver medal on behalf of VOCM is Brian Medor.
All right, so now we have Jason, who's teed up with politician Mr. Chess Crosby. So we're going to hear from them as this race number 13 is progressing.
Well, folks, I'm here with a rather important man, Mr. Chess Crosby, leader of the Provincial Progressive Conservative Party. Thank you very much for taking the time to say hello, sir.
Oh, my pleasure. And a beautiful day it is for the regatta. You can't have a better one.
You really don't.
Wind as well.
No wind. Been great since the start of the day, early in the morning. Also, you are finely dressed, sir. May I compliment you?
Well, I'm having lunch with the regatta committee, so I figured they'd be a Tony group, right?
Exactly. So, obviously, Crosby family been around the St. John's community for a very long time. You've probably seen a lot of regattas coming down.
Well, that's true. In fact, I grew up at number 16 Circular Road, just back here. So it's only a short walk down here. And so, in my childhood, I'd come down here all the time. It was so close by. And this is where I was introduced to cotton candy.
Oh, really? So, historically speaking, favorite part of the regatta for Mr. Chess Crosby?
Well, I think it's just the excitement of being with a bunch of people who are really keen on the event. The historical connection is all part of it. The races are certainly important, but I was never that focused on the races that I was about to put money on the outcome, right? Now, I did have 2 daughters who rowed in the regatta, and one of them won her category. And the family history goes back, actually, to 1911, when my grandfather, Furno, won a gold medal in 1911. And my Uncle Doug still has the copy, or still has that gold medal.
Back so far as 1911. Holy cow. And of course, I mean, if we think about the history, we're into 201 years now, at least recorded 201 years. And we're talking about something that happened 100 years ago, and that's only halfway back to the beginning. So the legacy of this in our province and in our city is a massive thing.
Yeah, and a lot of us still have remembered family connections with it, so that's all part of the fun, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. Thank you very much, Mr. Crosby, for taking the time to say hello. Always
welcome.
A pleasure. And Amanda, back to you.
All right, so we're here unofficial time of 3:12. And Diana introduced this race number 13. And we have on stake 1 yoga therapy. And I happen to know that all of those rowers are yoga teachers. So when you're looking at stake 1, they should be sitting up very tall and with strong cores, that's for sure. I learned that because every Wednesday in the summer there is free yoga on the lawn at Government House. And there's volunteer yoga instructors who go to teach that yoga starting at 12:15 to 1 every Wednesday until I think the end of September. It is absolutely awesome. And I went a couple weeks ago where I learned that there's a crew rowing on stake 1 in the current race that you're watching right now, and they are all yoga instructors. So I think that's just so cool. They're rowing for fun. I think they're all affiliated in some way with Nova Yoga, and some of them are also offering this free yoga up at Government House. So that's pretty cool. And like we said, multi-sport athletes get a benefit from being involved in different things, and no different with the yoga. And I think that's the yoga therapy crew in the white on the top right of your screen there on stake 1. But pulling in the lead in the red shirts looks to be stake, not stake 2, I think stake 4. It looks like stake 4 is ahead of 3 and then 2 and then 1. And probably stake 5, which is the United Steelworkers, are bringing up the rear there in 5th place. And 4th place in that boat is the Rest NL mattresses in the Cougar helicopters. So this is a great close-up shot here. The races, they're getting to the point where they're a little bit fatigued, so you start to see some timing issues, but they're trying their best to get to their front of their seat, to the back of their seat, so they can get the most out of their leg drive. Because often people say, oh, you're a rower, you must have a strong back, strong arms, but really a lot of your power is generated from your legs. So you could see that there in the close-up shots. And I believe we're getting ready to talk to some of the winners, the Universal Corporate Wear, and Diana is going to speak to them, so I'll throw it over to her.
All right, so I'm here with the winners from race number 11, Universal Corporate Wear. Congratulations, girls.
Thank you so much.
So I know Ed Boone is the coxswain, so he's no stranger to the regatta. Universal Corporate Wear, I do know Lynn is here. Great sponsor. I think she has 4 crews. Is it this year rowing?
I did have 3. 4. I have 3 now.
Okay, so three's a lot. Three's a lot. So I'm just going to have a quick chat here with Valerie Ducey. Valerie, how long you guys been together?
This is our 3rd year rowing together.
All right. And how was it? How's it going?
Oh, absolutely fantastic.
Are you still getting along? That's the big thing.
Oh, listen, we got along. It's a great crew with lots of teamwork, lots of motivation, a lot of positive reinforcement with each other. It's a fabulous team.
So is this your first win this year?
Our first win this year, definitely our personal best.
Yeah, so you guys had the slowest time in time trials coming into this race. Is that correct?
Yes, it was. We were a little discouraged about that, but yes.
So you can never be discouraged, obviously, because look how well you did.
Well, you turned that into motivation, and like I said, we did everything we could, give it all we got. We rode for ourselves, we rode for each other, we rode for our families, and
we rode with our
lots
hearts.
of fun.
Sorry?
We rode with our hearts.
Awesome, and that's the way you win races. Awesome job, girls. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye, guys. All right, now I'm going to throw it back to Amanda to finish our race.
Well, you were interviewing Universal Corporate Wear. I was lucky enough to catch the finish of an extremely close race. The order, I don't have the times, but I think crossing the line first was Rest NL Mattresses there in the blue. They were on stake 4. And then not even a second, or well, maybe definitely not 2 seconds behind them was stake 3, Ziggy Peelgoods. And right behind them was stake 2, Home Hardware. And then it was the Yoga Therapy NL on stake 1 came in, and then in 5th was the United Steelworkers. So that was the order of that finish. Just a really tight race. I don't know if you caught the finish of it, but it was very close.
So the Rest NL, is it Mattresses 1? Rest NLO?
Stake 4, yeah, Rest NL Mattresses. They were in the blue. Really close race.
Excellent. Good. Good to see the close races.
There were some excited rowers you talked to.
Oh, yes, for sure, because they had finished actually last in time trials, and then they finished first in that race. So they went from 5th to 1st in the race. Ed Boone was their coxswain, and I spoke to the lady there, Lynn, with Universal Corporate Wear. She is sponsoring 3 crews.
They're a great sponsor of the regatta. They also last year held a rowers barbecue and Universal Corporate Wear sponsored it. So, you know, you really get local businesses stepping up to the plate and just giving more than expected. So it's awesome.
Yes, absolutely. And Lynn is really big in the community for all events like hockey and figure skating, swimming. I know she's involved in a lot of different events.
So we see here the Rest, I want to say Rest Well match.
I know.
But I think it's Rest NL. And you can see them trying to recoup there at the end of their race. Okay, and now shortly we're going to have on the screen all the race results up to 11 a.m. So here we go. Recapping the first race of the day, the Atlantic Lottery Female Amateur official times. First place, High Flow Hydraulic, 5:04. Number 2, Cal Group, 5:10:47. Third place, Don Burke, 5:24. Fourth place, Steers Insurance, 5:25:37. Fifth place, Pooch Cove Pharmacy, 5:32. So race number 2, this is seeds 6 to 10, but as you can see, Kennedy Cleaning Services bumped out Pooch Cove Pharmacy for that top 5 spot by just 2 seconds. So 5:30:52 gets them into the big show, the championship race tonight. Atlantic Towing, 5:33:78. India Gate, 5:40:04. Veuve Clicquot, I wish they'd sponsor me, 5:41:49. First General, 5:41:80. Some excellent rows there. First men's race of the day was race number 3. First place there in a comfortable lead was Fine Strokes Painting and Plastering, formerly Outer Cove, town of Outer Cove, rowing last year. Behind them, Belfour, 9:23:27. And then just 5 seconds behind them is the NTV, a crew of guys mostly who work at NTV and also row for NTV. I know they'll want to be catching up to Belfour and closing that 5-second gap tonight. Then followed by Smith Stockley, and 5th place was, sorry, I'm not talking fast enough. Race number 4, official results. Newfoundland Power, 10:03:72. Geotech Services, 10:12:74. Team Broken Earth, M5, 10:33. Piatto Pizzeria and Enoteca, Browning Harvey, 11:08:99. So the men's championship will be the exact same 5 boats who started the men's races today. So race number 5, PF Collins, 5:47:60. Caverner, 5:55:06. Sisters in Fitness, 5:56:82. Stuart McKelvey crew in 4th place, 5:57:33. 5th place, Hazmasters, 6:02:38. Congratulations to PF Collins on a great row there. Race number 6, official results. Lamb's Rum, 10:11:85. Hearn Distributing, 10:12:28. 3rd place, Embrace Orthodontics, 10:12:32. 4th place, Harbor Grace Ocean, 11:18:83. 5th place, All Star Rebar with a time of 11:30:11. Race number 7, Wedgwood Power. I think that's Wedgwood Physio, 5:48:12. 2nd place, TLC Home Care, 5:58. CompuSalt, 6:26:13. Boulder McDonald's, 6:27:02. John Callahan Realty, 6:27:73. On to race number 8, the Domino's Pizza Juvenile Female. So these are times for juvenile rowers. 5:51:12 for Martin Surveys, the winner of that race. RBC Dominion Securities, 5:56:21. Keep Cool Refrigeration, 6 minutes, 16 seconds, 29. 4th place, Carboneer Home Hardware, 6:54:12. 5th place, the St. Bon's Girls. Looks like a DQ there. I'll have to get the story on that one. Race number 9 was a 2-boat race. The intermediate females, Herald Hotel crew from Placentia finished in a time of 5:30:80, and Hempijan Canada, time of 6:20:22. Race number 10, first place, Domino's Pizza, 11:07:19. 2nd place, Madsen, 11:13:24. 3rd place, Smith Stockley Lakers, 11:36:29. Newfoundland Herald, 12:10:54. Kerbeck Signs, 12:24:32. That was the ExxonMobil Male General Workers race. So race number 11, the VOCM Female Commercial Race. First place, we just talked to them, Universal Corporate Wear, 6:05:18. 2nd place, Yetman Shingles, 6:17:73. 3rd place, Discovery Center, 7:19:96. And then a disqualification for Medave, Blue Cross, and Domino's Pizza. So we can see some of the crews coming to the dock there now. A couple disqualifications there this morning. I'm not really sure what happened. Did you catch the story on the DQ?
No, I didn't actually. The regatta committee there are trying to get some results, but no, they weren't able to confirm what happened there actually.
Okay, so just to give people at home an idea of potential reasons for disqualification, there could be multiple false starts, which I don't think there were because we would have heard it. It could be an equipment problem. It could be a timing problem. There's lots of rules and regulations.
A rower could have been sick. There's lots of things, like they might have just withdrew themselves anyway too, right?
That's right. So we want to thank for making all this possible today, Spirit of Newfoundland for providing the catering for all the Rogers volunteers. Everyone who's watching at home, you can enter to win a barbecue so generously donated by Home Depot. And also, we'd like to thank the Anglican East Diocese for their sponsorship. It takes a lot of people and businesses and organizations working together to make this day possible.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we do have the winners coming in there from the last race. And I do believe we're going to hold off on the crews going out for the next race. I think the Prime Minister is going to be up to the starting dock for that one. So I think they're going to slow that down a little bit. They're going to keep the dock marshal's going to keep the racers for race number 14. On the dock here right now, and he's going to start that race.
All right. So as we gear up to watch Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, start a race here at the Royal St. John's Regatta, we are going to take a short break and come right back.
Hey!
The lift wasn't working and he was in pain, so I tried to lift him on my own. Yes, it's bad. I'll need help.
Can I help you with that?
No, I'm good. Thanks.
Workplace injuries hurt the most at home.
Focused on quality and convenience, there isn't much you won't find at Marie's Mini Mart. Home-style breads, sandwiches, plus a variety of artisan breads and delicious single-serve desserts available exclusively at our Frecker Drive location. Marie's Mini Mart, with 25 locations wherever you go, there we are.
Okay, folks, let me introduce you to a rather important man, not necessarily for the regatta, but for us here at Rogers Television. This is Mr. Rick Brace. He's the president of Rogers Media.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me on. It's a real pleasure to be here.
We're fortunate to have you here. There's a lot of stuff going on in and around our city that we're such a community brand, of course, at Rogers Television, under Rogers Media. And there's a few things in particular that I want to talk to you about.
Just before that, though, I'd be remiss if I didn't thank all of the volunteers. You guys are doing an amazing job here.
This guy.
I understand that it's 3 shifts of 30 people over the day. Some of you overlap. But what an amazing turnout for an amazing event. My first time in St. John's.
First time in St. John's?
I do have some roots in Newfoundland. My grandparents are from Greens Harbor.
Are they really?
And so I'm going out there tomorrow to have a look. I just wanted to get that out before we started.
Well, listen, I'm glad that you're helping me fill airtime, because speaking of people who have been here for a long day, I'll be here from 6 this morning till after 8 tonight, most of it standing in front of this camera. So thanks for filling a few minutes there.
And a big thanks to all the people standing behind the cameras as well.
Obviously.
Let's not forget them.
This is my man, Dan. Dan, say hi. Hi, Dan. Anyway, let's talk about some of the things that I want to talk about, because I'm excited. Toronto Maple Leafs alumni game coming in the fall.
Never heard of them. Never heard of them. No.
Okay, so our local ECHL team, the Newfoundland Growlers, are owned by the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Exactly.
The alumni are coming in town. It's a big promotional sort of thing. At Rogers Television, we'll be covering that. I'm hoping to sneak my way into there and get real close. I'm a diehard Leaf fan my whole life. That should be a whole lot of fun. Rogers, of course, the community television is going to be a big part of that. And also, up on the other end of this pond, there's this little red house that we're talking a lot about, Rogers Ignite.
I was down there earlier today, actually. Yeah. Rogers Ignite. I mean, for those of you who haven't heard of it, it's our new technology, the new cable box, but it's not really a cable box. It's really based on IPTV technology, so internet technology. Just amazing, voice activated, allows you to get hundreds of channels, in fact, thousands of channels, and actually has a lot of apps on it. It's the way of the future, and for us, it's the way of the present. It's taking the country by storm in our cable footprint.
Yeah, I got it installed just a little while ago, and my day job, like most of the time I spend, is in real estate. And sales are down since I got Rogers Ignite. I'm teasing. I'm not home all day watching TV. I'm sorry. Now, also, when I was over there, the cast of Hudson and Rex showed up. So big partnership there with Rogers also.
Well, I mean, that has been an absolutely fabulous story. We're into our 2nd year. So 16 episodes we're producing this year, 16 last year, which is a big order in Canada for a television series. Shot here entirely in St. John's. And I'm telling you that it really does look like a St. John's background. We're not trying to mask it. We're saying this is a St. John's show.
Yeah.
And we're seeing appeal, not just in Canada, but in various markets around the world.
What I really like about it, you're saying like it looks like a St. John's show in that you can watch it and you can see you're definitely in and around the city of St. John's. But at the exact same time, historically, there's always been a feel when you watch television like that looks like Canadian television. Do you know, like there was sort of like a thing attached to it? This just happens to be here. It's like top shelf.
I think the days of historically looking like a Canadian show are long gone.
Oh, yeah.
We've had some great successes with Canadian television, and I'm so proud to be part of this industry. And Hudson and Rex is just another example of how far we've come and the traction that a show like this can get internationally.
Yeah, absolutely. Rick, it's great to have you here. To have somebody who, I think it speaks a lot about the kind of corporation that Rogers is, like from Rogers Television, Rogers Media, Communications, all of it, all together being so community-based, and to have the amount of volunteers who are doing something like this, to have literally, like on the hierarchy, if you want to get into it from like a business standpoint, president's not on the bottom, but you're taking the time to sit and have a conversation. I personally really appreciate it, sir.
I really appreciate it, and you know what? This is what's fun for me.
Yeah.
To come to meet you folks, see the great job you do day in, day out, the number of community events that you do, the great television you do, and just, you know, when I look at you, I see the spirit of Ted.
Ah, the spirit of Ted. What a nice way to say it. Thank you very much, Mr. Brace. And we were going to go to a short break, and we'll be back with more races and lots more stuff right after this.
back, and I'm here with the winners of race number 12, College of the North Atlantic District Female District race number 12, the Avalon Animal Hospital. So I'm going to get these ladies and gentlemen to introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Stacy Moran.
Allison Moore.
Janine Snellgrove.
Annette Larkin.
Elmi Walsh.
Tim Clemens.
And there was one more of you who just had to scurry away because she's coxing in another race. What's her name?
Andrea Power.
So how was it out there?
It was pretty good, actually. We thought maybe like at the beginning the wind came up a little bit, so it was a little bit rough going down, but we came out of the turn and we just stuck to the plan and flew back and won the race.
Awesome. So you guys were 6:26. The next closest team was 6:31. 5 seconds, not too big of a margin. When did you know you had it? When did you know you won?
I didn't really know at all. You're not supposed to look around in the boat according to our coxswain, so we tried not to do that. But I knew we were maybe in the top 3, but wasn't really sure where exactly.
All right, so Tim, you teach them not to look in the boat. Are you a first-year coxswain? Because I know a lot of these girls look very familiar.
Yeah, no, their cox kind of bailed on them last minute. I just went out to help, and then they kind of reeled me in and convinced me to do it.
Well, you really stepped up to the plate then. That's excellent. Congratulations. You got a win on your not too much coxing experience.
Yeah, no, the girls were easy to cox. They did it all. I was just pulling the rope on the turn.
Do you think pulling the rope on the turn, that's one way to put it? And when will you come back and do it again, do you think?
I don't know. No promises. Ask me in February.
To be continued. All right, Avalon Animal Hospital, thank you guys so much. Congratulations. We're going to move on to the next race, so thanks so much.
We've got coxswain Jeff Clooney, stroke Clara Manning.
Okay, so in our next race, so the first stake, coxswain Jeff Clooney, stroke Melanie Yetman Holloway.
And Tammy King. Congratulations.
And
presenting the silver medal.
The second stake in the President's Choice Post, coxswain Andrea Power and stroke Alana Victory.
And that crew is IG Wealth Management, and on stake 1 is the Telegram/Robbins Donuts.
And now on the third stake, in the Oz Network boat, Gloria Brown coxswain and stroke Melissa Power.
And that crew, the sponsor is Vera Fast RN, so a lot of nurses out in that boat. Excellent.
And in the fourth stake, Jim Ring coxswain and stroke Melissa Gorman.
Sponsor Island Insulation.
Jim Ring, of course, no foreigner to the pond. Fifth stake, coxswain Patricia Murphy, stroke Pauline Malcolmson.
And the sponsor of that team is the Pacemakers. So I believe also those some healthcare professionals on stake 5 in the Pacemakers group, as well as on stake 3, Avera Fast RN. So I mean, you can't plan this stuff to get in the same race, but the stars really align to get the race of the healthcare professionals here at 11:40 a.m.
So do you think that there's an extra, I mean, just as a conversation piece, while we're waiting for everybody to set up, do you think there's an extra little bit of kind of fight, like an extra little bit of competition because they're in related industries? You know what I mean? Like, do you think there's a little bit like, we're tougher than you, we're nurses, you know what I mean?
I think they all probably know each other, which always spices things up a bit. And we can see here the Ziggy Peelgood's crew collecting their medal for race number 13, the Rogers Female Club.
Good old Rogers, they're there for you all the time, aren't they?
That's right. So high fives all around. And we see there, you know, we're announcing all these times, this is the first spare, second spare. We see here one lady here has her arm in a sling because accidents do happen. So most crews do have backup rowers who are sparing either in practice. And sometimes, like in the case of high flow hydraulic, these spares end up actually racing. So Nancy Beaton actually raced in the championship race with high flow hydraulic in Harbor Grace and in Placentia and set new course records in both of those regattas this year.
I mean, that brings up interesting conversations when it comes to strategy. So, I mean, if they're setting, because in Placentia, there was sort of a record there, right? That recorded time. So doing that with a spare, like, do you, as a coach, then start to adjust what your expectation is, or do you change your game plan?
Well, it depends on the crew, that's for sure. Most crews here at the regatta have the 6 key members or the 6 main members of the crew set at the beginning of the year or the season, and then the spare is kind of like an add-on. So in that case, it's certainly what their game plan was that, and they stuck to it, but there were some injuries, and Nancy was just able to step in and race when she could.
So is that for our championship race now tonight? Will we have that full crew back again?
I would say, I mean, Tracy was down here and looked very strong, very healthy this morning, and I haven't heard any otherwise, but all of the exact 6 crew members in all 5 of the boats for the men's and women's races will be back for the championship races for sure.
So they're all getting lined up here. Everybody's holding on to their toggles, trying to get straight. We'll wait for the starter, ask them if they're ready.
And as we tee up another interview with some winners, the blue tank top people, Rest NL Mattresses, the winners of race number 13. These women hail from Harbor Grace, so we are going to speak to them in just a little bit. That's winners of race number 13, the Rogers Female Club. And right now on the screen is race number 14, City of St. John's Female Labor Race. Second last race before the break, and they are off.
They are off indeed. You can see them start to push through. Water flying as they try and get up some speed early in the race.
Oh, I thought... Last race before the break, I stand corrected. So I think this was the race where the Prime Minister was going to start them.
Yeah, so he would have been the starter just then. Number 1, are you ready? 2, 3, on through. So that would have been the lovely and talented Mr. Justin Trudeau.
Yeah.
Who, here's an interesting story. I managed to catch a glimpse of him. He shook my hand as he walked in earlier. And then randomly, a lady in the crowd came over to me and she said, "I don't know you and you don't know me, but I need your phone number." And I was like, "What? This is interesting."
"Sure, lady."
This is interesting. And she said, "Because I need to text you this photo." And she caught a photo of me just randomly, and I'm very grateful. And if you pay attention to Rogers TV's Twitter, you'll probably see that photo posted now shortly.
That is very cool. All right, I'm going to move over here and try and interview some Rest NL Mattresses as this race carries on.
So we're shortly past the 1 minute mark here. Still a really, really tight race across all 5 stakes. Not surprising, I suppose, this early in a race, as they're just passing in front of the boathouse here now. Very, very tight. And there's a buzz about this place. It gets bigger and bigger and on throughout the entire day. Around our brand new winner's circle here, which the City of St. John's did such a good job on. I remember in a conversation I had earlier with Mayor Danny Breen about how this is just step 1 of an ongoing upgrade, multi-phase beautification project around the Kitty Vitty Park. And it's interesting that he called it Kitty Vitty Park because I'm not sure everybody always would have recognized it as a park. But technically speaking, that's kind of what we have. So before we cue up this interview, a couple of quick shout outs again to our sponsors. The Anglican East Diocese, thank you so much for your sponsorship for the regatta as a whole. Again, to Home Depot, thank you for the barbecue that we can all win up at, well, maybe not all of us, I can't, up at the Rogers Ignite Red House. And then again, Speeder Newfoundland for our catering. I'm going to enjoy that when we go to a break after this last race. But first, let's toss out to a conversation with Amanda again with Rest NL. Amanda?
Hi, I'm here with the winners of race number 13, Rest NL Mattresses. These guys just had a great row. I'm going to get you guys to introduce yourselves.
Lenny Williams.
Sorry. Krista Cox.
Crystal White.
Ollie Penny.
Erica Calloway.
Stephanie Compton.
Jill Colburn.
Vanessa Farrell.
Juanita Pinson.
Okay, and we have elected the coxswain, I believe, to be the spokesperson. So tell me, how was it out there?
It's a bit rough going off. It was a bit windy. It wasn't like this morning, but we managed. Had a good row.
Well, you pulled it out and you did what you needed to do. Now, you guys are from Harbor Grace, and I understand Lady Lake is often windy, so you must be well trained for this.
We are. Every night is more or less wind. Every night. So we're used to it.
So how do these conditions compare to what you're used to?
100% better. Right? Yeah, it's way better.
Excellent. And so tell us about the race. What was your time? Do you have your official time?
Yeah, I think it was 6:15.
6:15. So how does that stack up for you guys about your results previously in the season?
That's the fastest time for us.
Oh, wow. Congratulations. So a personal best time.
It is. Well, we would have been better if the pond was better, but that's all you can do.
Yeah.
Right? But it was a good row.
And so did you, I'm assuming, probably competed in the Harbour Grace Regatta a couple weeks ago?
Yes, we did.
And how'd you make out there?
We got first place out there too.
Wow, so you're racking up the gold medals.
Yeah.
You're going to need a case to put them all in.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for coming to chat with me. Congratulations on a great result.
Thank you very much.
Excellent. So we are going to go back to Diana to tell us a bit more about the race that's going on now.
Thanks, Amanda. Very exciting, guys. Lovely. Like seeing the girls from Harbour Grace. Like seeing the teams from outside the city taking home a bit of hardware. So we're in our final race now. Last but not least, 4:30. So good timing. Amanda's back with me, and we're at the last race of the morning. They're almost to the marquee. This looks like a good race. It's pretty exciting.
Looks like stake 1 has the lead, followed by stake 2, followed by stake 5, then number 4, and then number 3.
So still seems like it could be a 3-boat race here right now. They're just coming by us here at the marquee. Very fortunate for the rowers today. The pond is beautiful. Really hasn't changed much from this morning.
The Rest NL mattress crowd over there, who normally rows on Lady Lake, is pretty pleased with these conditions because, as you know, Lady Lake is always very windy.
Yes, for sure. And Real, I just said it's nice to see that's a team from Placentia and a team from Harbour Grace win some hardware.
It certainly is.
So that's really exciting. So yeah, they're coming by us here now. You can see the team on stake 5 are starting. You can see them start hauling some water off the team on stake 1.
And back in the screen there a moment ago was coxswain Patricia Murphy, another staple coxswain, takes multiple crews every year, has been involved with the regatta for as long as I can remember. So great to see her back year after year. People like that just keep the regatta alive and going, and her enthusiasm for this sport is unparalleled. So way to go. Congrats on another great year, great rowing. Patricia, or I call her Patsy Murphy.
Patsy Murphy, yeah. Everybody knows her as Patsy. So it's 5:53. We got about 10-15 seconds left, if that, in this race.
It looks like stake 1, the Telegram Robbins Donuts in the red, is going to go for the win.
Yeah, it appears so. But it looks like it's going to be a close second place there.
Definitely. So there in the screen now is stake 1, the Telegram / Robbins Donuts. Coming across in a time of about 6:17 unofficially. That wraps up that one.
And then it's a good push here for the finish.
Stake 2. Wow, that's a close finish.
Yeah, excellent.
Then good. Number 2 was the IG Wealth Management.
Great to see. So we're a little bit behind because, as we said, we were waiting for the Prime Minister to shoot the gun for that race. So we were a little bit behind. But we got a really nice, we got a dinner break here now, an opportunity for everybody to regroup. Just before we go off, I do want to mention, because I don't know if it's been mentioned yet today, that another person who the Regatta Committee, a huge contributor and volunteer that we lost this year, was Dee Murphy. So really, really sad. Dee has been down to this regatta for years. He was a builder. He was a volunteer. He certainly was in my early career of rowing, he certainly was a really big supporter of females in the rowing and, the championship races. And he was certainly a fixture on, NTV, calling the races. The Newfoundland Herald, he contributed to that. So he's sadly missed, and I really think it's important to acknowledge him today.
Definitely. So Dee is in our hearts for sure. We'd also want to congratulate this year's Hall of Fame inductees. So we had the 1985 Outer Cove Regatta Ford Intermediate crew was voted in. Also, former Regatta Committee member Frank Dinn, who was instrumental in getting the Royal designation for the Royal St. John's Regatta. So that is a really very important thing for
and
this regatta.
Before you move on that one, Amanda, I just want to note that Frank's granddaughter is rowing 320 today, Madeline Pierce. And I'm being told now, I'm probably embarrassing her, but I don't care because that's what we do. And I'm being told that she slept in her grandfather's t-shirt last night for good luck. So how special is that? Amanda and her Stephen Dinn, Frank's son, they were down to the Hall of Fame dinner, and they accepted the presentation for Frank to be put in that Hall of Fame.
That just gave me the goosebumps.
I know, that's wonderful.
And then finally, last but not least, Graham Roach. He's been down around here for over 20 years. And he got in as a coxswain / participant. So big congratulations to Graham Roach, Frank Dinn, and the Outer Cove Regatta Ford Intermediate crew. So without further ado, I just want to say a big thank you once again to the Anglican East Diocese for sponsoring this event. And then also say thank you to Spirit of Newfoundland for providing catering for the Rogers crew here today. Also reminding anyone, if you're down around the lake, enter to win the barbecue donated by Home Depot. If you're not down around the lake, then why not? Get down here and take in some of the sights, sounds, smells of the regatta. That just about wraps up our morning. We've recapped most of the race results, and we will be back to you with live race coverage at 1:45 p.m. So short dinner break here to kind of recharge your batteries, and we'll see you again at 1:45 p.m.
Thanks, guys. See you then.
Mom, you said it's played again.
Workplace injuries hurt the most at home.
Focused on quality and convenience, there isn't much you won't find at Marie's Mini Mart. Home-style breads, sandwiches, plus a variety of artisan breads and delicious single-serve desserts available exclusively at our Frecker Drive location. Marie's Mini Mart, with 25 locations wherever you go, there we are.
The Pacemakers. Fourth place, rowing in stake 4 with a time of 6:44.05, Island Insulation. And fifth place, rowing in stake 3 with a time of 6:55.42, Avera Fast RNs. Congratulations to all the crews. We're now going to proceed with the medal presentation as well as the trophy presentation. We were planning to start with the second place crew, which is IG Wealth Management. Are they here? Someone thought they might have left. Okay, they're here. Great.
So glad they didn't skip it.
So second place, IG Wealth Management with a time of 6:26.63. If they could come forward to the winner's circle area. And presenting the silver place medal, we are very honored to have Prime Minister Justin Trudeau presenting the medals.
With Nick Whelan.
Accompanied by Nick Whelan. Okay, so the IG Wealth Management crew is comprised of Coxon, Andrea Power, Stroke, Alana Victory, crew members Yvonne Knight, Kelly Buste, Colette Mansfield, Nicole Ivy Cross, Michelle Corbett, and Spare Chip White. Congratulations, ladies.
Congratulations. Thank you. Good to see you. Congratulations.
Could Kelly Buste please come forward to the winner's circle for presentation of the silver medal?
Okay.
All right. You have to give Kelly hers afterwards, okay? Thank you.
They're going to get the trophy for you.
That's the silver place. That's the trophy.
Oh, right, sorry. Just want to get a quick picture?
For sure. All right, look at the middle. Squeeze in.
Congratulations to IG Wealth Management. Now we'd like to proceed with the presentation of the gold medal.
I'll come with the trophy.
So the race number 14, City of St. John's Female Labor, rowing in stake 1, first place with a time of 6:17.37, the Telegram Robbins Donuts crew. comprised of coxswain Jeff Clooney, stroke Melanie Yetman Holloway, crew members Megan Willett, Heidi Keating, Melissa Humphreys, Julie Parsons, Karina Fahy, and Emily Morgan. Congratulations to the Telegram Robbins Donuts crew. And once again, we are honored to have the Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, presenting the gold medals as well as the trophy, accompanied by Nick Whelan.
Isn't this a present? Oh my
no.
Give us good luck.
I was glad to do it.
You did a good job. You did. We're each going to hoist that trophy.
You guys have earned it.
You did a good job on Brady. I gotta say. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Great meeting you.
There we go.
We got a lot of audience. We are awesome.
Encouragement for next year. Encouragement for next year. Congratulations, everybody. Oh, geez. I think I'm not. Good luck for you guys. Yeah. Congratulations.
There was a vehicle.
That's okay. It's all part of the team. Of course. Thank you. All right.
The President of the Royal St. John's Regatta Committee is presenting the trophy to Prime Minister Trudeau, who's now presenting it to the crew. Congratulations to the Telegram Robbins Donuts crew.
Congratulations to the winners. Congratulations to all the racers. But I think everyone knows that on a day like this, everyone's a winner at the regatta. What a pleasure to be here. Thank you, St. John's, for being such extraordinary hosts, not just to people come out from around town, but from across the island, indeed, across the country. C'est un grand plaisir de voir tout le monde ici au regatta. Merci tout le monde d'être ici. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of the regatta. Take care.
The lift wasn't working and he was in pain, so I tried to lift him on my own. Yes, it's bad. I'll need help.
Can I help you with that?
No, I'm good. Thanks.
Workplace injuries hurt the most at home.
Focused on quality and convenience, there isn't much you won't find at Marie's Mini Mart. Home-style breads, sandwiches, plus a variety of artisan breads and delicious single-serve desserts available exclusively at our Frecker Drive location. Marie's Mini Mart, with 25 locations wherever you go, there we are.
My pleasure. So, I'm going to get you a mic.
Okay.
Boom.
I have my own mic.
The beauty of live television. Okay, so, mine isn't on? Now are we good? Somebody tell me we're cool. Are we fine? Absolutely amazing. Okay, we're going to share.
Okay, we can share. We can do that.
So,
Cooperation.
I'll introduce you again, Miss Alison Coffin, leader of the provincial NDP party.
Thank you very much.
And also representative in your own riding here.
I am. This side of the lake is St. John's East Kitty Vitty.
Exactly. So you're all about Kitty Vitty, that area, sort of your jam.
It is. It is. This is a great place to be. Look at how magnificent it is. There's so much attractions here. This is my place.
Okay, so there's a lot of buzz around today. I mean, we don't need to dig into, you know, political colors or any of that foolishness. This is all like a love, hug, feely sort of place here today. Everybody's celebrating. Having that said, we had a pretty big visitor today.
We did. That was quite exciting, hey?
Yeah. I mean, it was exciting for me. I was standing next to a man who's getting more attention to me, and I got very jealous.
Fair enough, fair enough.
However, it is nice to see our community gather together, be a part of this, and for everybody to cheer on something and just be excited to have your own thing.
Yeah, I think this is a great place for us all to come together, no matter what stripe, no matter what political disposition. Everybody loves the races. So you enjoy the races, you enjoy the food, you enjoy the sense of community here, and that's what we love about this.
Absolutely. I was speaking to Mr. Ches Crosby a little while ago. He's going to end up sitting on the dunk tank a little later on. And I'm supposed to be there at 4 o'clock. I wondered if you wanted the opportunity to sit in my place just so you could compete with Ches.
I appreciate that, but I didn't bring my swimsuit, so maybe not. Maybe I'll just come and throw softball at the dunk tank.
Do you want to come throw it at me?
Maybe.
Or I can come get you when Mr. Crosby is up and you can throw it at him.
Oh, maybe I can do that too.
I think that the audience would really enjoy watching you dunk leader of the opposition.
I think you might be right. I could pay probably extra for that.
And I also think that that would probably start to trend on Twitter, and at least we'd have something else to talk about for a while.
I think you got a good idea there going on there. I think we have to have like the onesies wetsuits or dry suits, though, if we want to do that, because it could be very cold here.
Like, we're tougher than this, Alison.
You're right.
We are tougher than this. We don't need to be worried about how cold it is. Now, having that said, speaking of tough, how about the job of Premier? Not an easy one.
No, I imagine it is not, but I do look forward to the time when I get to do it.
Oh, I like the confidence. Alison, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. We're actually going to have a conversation with the Premier right now.
Coming up soon.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks. Do I have 2 mics now?
You have to.
Sir? Now, hold on.
Good job, Alison.
Which, trying to decide which is the more fancy. I think you take this. You take this. And welcome back. Anybody know this guy? Anybody? Anybody here know this guy? Anyone? Ladies and gentlemen, the Premier of Newfoundland and Labrador, Mr. Dwight Ball.
Great to be here. What a fabulous day at Kitty Vitty and the lake, and everyone in such a great mood this morning. We're thrilled to have the Prime Minister here with us this morning as well. But you know, lots of great things happening here in Kitty Vitty today.
Absolutely. And yourself, I mean, you got a chest on you like a rower. Do you row back in the day?
You know, I not lately, but that's you know what I did. Of course, living on a big lake, as I was joking with some of my friends inside today. It's an 18-mile lake in Deer Lake, and you had to pick your spots when it comes to rowing up that lake. So I haven't been doing it lately, but you know, it's always a big pleasure. And a lot of my friends involved in rowing, a lot of people that I work with. So it's you know, it's part of the big day. Christmas Eve, they say in St. John's.
Did I just catch you throwing shade at how Kitty Vitty Lake is only little compared to Deer Lake?
You know, what I said is that the people people around Kitty Vitty, certainly large numbers. There's more people here today than we would fill every single street in Deer Lake. But what it is a provincial, of course, celebration today, and we're very proud of what the volunteers do, and including Rogers for making all of this happen as well.
Well, we appreciate that because I organized most of it by myself, really. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh, yeah, I know you're a one-man show there, yeah.
Obviously, that is not true. There's like 100 of us who are making this happen. Can you speak for a second about what it means to the province, to the crowd, and to the community that Mr. Justin Trudeau stopped by today?
You know, we're fabulous. We've been, you know, speaking with the Prime Minister on many occasions now and giving him the invite to come to Regatta. And of course, he's, you know, it's obviously a lot of pressure on his schedule, but, you know, he made this happen today at the 201st Regatta. And he was thrilled here today. You can tell the crowds, and he took as much time as necessary. The kids and certainly everyone that wanted the opportunity to meet with the Prime Minister. I was jokingly saying is when we were in the starter shed that there was a gun there shooting blanks, and he had a lot of fun with that. But you know, he just enjoys this stuff. And we had a great meeting this morning. I can tell you his commitment to this province is unwavering.
I made a joke as he was walking by, just commentating on the fact that he was here and he's doing such a good job shaking hands and kissing babies, and I accidentally said that he was shaking babies. And of course, this is live television. So you can't really edit that out. But I would just like everybody to know, like, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau did not shake any babies in St. John's today.
No, but I will tell you, people of all ages, understand that his engagement, his level of engagement, it's really, I look at it, and every time I get a chance to talk to him, it's just his energy level when it comes to meeting and engagement with people. It's unprecedented, and so, for us, it's been a good partnership that we've had with the Prime Minister, and we're certainly pleased that he was able to be here today to celebrate Regatta.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Premier Ball, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure to talk to you.
Great.
And we'll be right back after this. Welcome back once again, friends and family, down at Kitty Vitty Lake, and you can see the beautiful lake as we're in between conversations here. And speaking of beautiful, the sunglasses on you. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Brenda O'Reilly, hello.
How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. I mean, I've been standing out here in what has mostly been sun for the majority of today, and I'm meeting a lot of really interesting people and getting to have some cool conversations. Speaking of interesting people, you got a scatter thing on the go, hey?
We do, yes. We, of course, happy Regatta Day. I just love the regatta. It's just something we did all of our lives, coming to regatta. I want to say hi to Dad, sitting at home. Hi, Dad.
Oh, hi, Dad.
Yeah, we've got, of course, we just bought the courthouse in Harbour Grace and the cathedral there, so we're working on that tourism project, which is fantastic. Of course, we're doing another season of Scoff Off coming up.
Yes, we are, and I'm super excited about this. This is so. I mean, if you're watching, you might know me from Out of the Fog, but myself and another partner of mine, director Joe Dominics, we helped to create Scoff Off with Brenda, who hosts it and does an amazing job.
It's a fantastic show. I think it's a lot of fun. I'm getting such positive response from it. It's really funny. Some of the shows I sit and watch over and over. I just think they're really funny. The guests have been fantastic. You'll see a whole bunch of like politicians and artists and musicians and athletes this year on the show.
Can we drop a couple of hints a little bit? Can you?
Don't want to give it away, but some pretty big names. Got some pretty big names this year. Of course, we're hoping to get some celebrity chefs as well to do this season. So looking forward to it. Stay tuned.
Well, I mean, we're going to stay tuned. And just for anybody who is not quite familiar, Scoff Off is a secret ingredient cooking competition with sort of local-ish people who pin against one another, and you judge.
I do. Right? That's the hardest part. I have to pick a winner, and
more specifically, maybe you have to pick a loser.
Well, yeah. Sometimes it's like, flip a coin, but yeah, it's based on some criteria, some judging criteria. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it comes down to the taste of the dish. Yeah. So it comes down to that at the end of the day.
Provided it's edible.
Provided it's edible, yeah. There's been a couple that are being sketchy, but...
Well, I, for one, am personally looking forward to filming the next... I mean, we're going to get a few episodes in this season.
Yes, we're doing 13.
Whew, that's a lot to be at. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you very much, Brenda O'Reilly.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure. And I'm going to get a good friend of mine, Jim. Jim, if you want to come and join us and help commentate on the upcoming race... Good to see you again, sir.
Good to see you, Jason.
Good to see you. Introduce yourself to the crowd here now.
Well, I'm Jim Carroll. I've been rowing and coxing on the pond for 41 years, and Regatta is at Christmas, so I'm really glad to have an opportunity now to have give some commentary about some of the races coming up this afternoon.
And we are really, really happy to have you. So you spoke about Regatta being like Christmas. So can you elaborate? Because that's probably the 4th or 5th time. Because I'm not from St. John's. I grew up around the bay. And at Norman Scove Long Cove days, we had the dory races. Yeah. But, you know, it was just for the fun of it. It wasn't a lot of training going into it. It was just sort of the time. Yeah. So can you elaborate a little bit on what it's like to have that in your blood, in your culture?
Well, it's like Christmas when October rolls around. Everybody's starting to buy their gifts and everything else. The same thing starts in May. Down here training. Testing your body, training to see how fast you can go Regatta Day. Also, the people you meet through this sport is unlike any other sport that I've ever been involved in. And it's just a real family atmosphere, supportive atmosphere, and all the rowers that I've met throughout my career, and the coxswains and the families to support. It's just it just becomes, all accumulates, as you can see today, with everybody just having a wonderful time. And the sportsmanship of this event is unparalleled. And
it's to elaborate a little bit on your comment about the family, and it's like a generational sort of thing. There's been multiple times that we just behind us here in the winner's circle, people would be presented with their medals, their trophies, and they'd have their children, and family comes in, and it seems like very much a legacy piece. It's a generational piece, and now you see people who are rowing whose parents rowed or whose uncles rowed. And
well, I can tell you right now, I'm really excited for this afternoon because there are a number of 3rd and 4th generation kids rowing.
And that's super exciting.
And that's happening this afternoon.
Okay, so now let's get into race number 15. So in stake 1, Lamb's Palm Breeze, coxswain Melissa Oregon, stroke Dana Courtney.
Yeah, in stake 2, the Stroke of Power, coxswain Dave Curran, stroke Shondell Button, 5 Crystal Power, 4 Kat White, 3 Laura Harris, 2 Kristen Hines, and on number 1, Megan Shortle.
And then, of course, in the 3rd stake in the Smith-Stockley boat, Rebecca Vokey is the coxswain, and stroke Taylor Slade, Tiffany Kellaway, Mackenzie Chipman, Taylor Ezekiel, Dakota Chipman, and Autumn Lambert filling out that boat.
In stake 4 in the CBC, you got coxswain Sarah Emberley, stroke Ashley Head, Maribeth Pico, Cassandra Ford, Amy Lester, and number 2, Alex Peddle, and number 1, Kayla Pete.
And rounding out race number 15 in the 5th stake, sitting in the Seahawk, coxswain Sarah Osmond, stroke Mandy Peach, and their boat is filled up with Renee Furlong, Brenda Baird, Amanda Keogh, Ashley Wade, and Jennifer Brace.
So this is going to be a really good race. When I looked at the times, there was, I think it was only 8 or 10 seconds separating first from last in this race.
Oh, wow.
So this should be a pretty competitive race.
And, I mean, knowing what the weather is like here today out on the pond, it's still pretty flat. Knowing what the weather was like during time trials, that 8 seconds, that could easily be made up just in that weather change.
It's also time trials, where do we get it so far in August? The last potential day could be in August. There was an extra week of training, so a lot of crews are in different parts of their training program. So time trials, some crews could be towards their peak, and then they peter off a bit. Other crews are just coming on. So what happens time trials, it seeds the crews, but it really doesn't really give the true picture until Regatta Day when they go head-to-head.
It's kind of just a measurement, really, of how well they could perform on that day, at that time, for that race.
Absolutely, and also these races, and a lot of these crews went to Placentia and Harbour Grace, and the purpose of that is to fine line their racing, I guess, strategy. And some of these crews probably might have had a bad turn on time trials day. Some of the stroke rate might have been lower than they wanted. So every time you go out and race, they're learning from it. So by the time Regatta Day rolls around, you can see you'll see a significant difference in their race strategy. Yeah.
Absolutely. And now, of course, these people are starting. They're still there in the first quarter of a race, getting a little bit closer to the marquee now. Still pretty tight across, say, 1, 2, and 4.
Well, stake 1, a lot of people, when they're looking at a lot of persons who don't follow the regatta very often, when they're looking at races from the bank, they get caught up in the lie of the pond. And sometimes you think a crew is actually going faster than it is. Like the team on stake 1 over there now, from the bottom of your, top of your screen, like that, the crew in stake 2 looks like they're catching them. But technically, they really didn't gain right there now. But it's just the lie of the pond when you're looking at as crews go by. But it looks like the team in stake 1 are in control with stake 2, very, very close.
And of course, on the nearer end of the pond, if you have a look at your screen, we're pretty. I mean, you're pretty close in 3rd and 4th there as well. So it's a battle for that.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. I hate to call it just stake 1.
We're at 15. So when looking at the times there from time trials, what are you expecting to see come out of this?
Well, in the time trials, the crews race in the practice shells. The Regatta shells are a different boat, same mold, but they're lighter and faster. So I expect these crews, especially on today like today, to drop their time by 15, 20 seconds. You know,
that much of a difference.
Yeah.
Even on this, like the half course.
Yeah, and the half course. And the other thing too with the pond, with the conditions of the pond right now. You can see from the viewers, it's the wind is, whatever bit of wind is here is straight up the pond. So both the crew on stake 1 and the crew over on stake 5, they're rowing in equal water. Sometimes if the wind is coming across the pond, it could be a given advantage to the crew that's underneath the bank or vice versa. But this is a very fair pond to race on, and all 5 crews are going head to head in basically equal rowing conditions.
So the wind here typically picks up into the early, mid, late afternoon and into the evening as we get into our championship races. So does it become advantageous then to have selected your stake for any particular place?
Well, for these races here, the stakes are already preset because they seed the fastest time on stake 1 and the slowest time on stake 5, and that creates it's a safety issue for boats going down because there could be a slower crew coming into a turn.
Of course, yeah.
So, but the only time they get to choose now is that this evening now, the crews that have made the championship race, they'll canvass the weather station, figure out what the direction the winds are going to be, and they get to select their boat and stake. So
based on the direction of the wind, right? So what side of the pond they'd rather be on, or if they'd rather be straight up the middle.
So the wind is if the wind changes and it goes kind of southerly and is coming across the pond back over towards the boulevard, you may see the top crew in both categories move to stake 5 or stake 4 or even in the middle of the pond. So
there's a lot of strategy.
It is so. When you're at that level and you're competing at that level, you're seeking every bit of advantage second-wise you can get to give you that edge. And if you have the fastest time of the day, you get that choice to give you that edge because you've earned it. So
yeah. So I mean, we've got these guys. They're all around the turn and they're all back now at full force, coming back up the pond, getting closer to the boathouse here in the marquee. Still, I mean, we still have a couple of minutes left here before they end up rounding out towards the end, and we see who comes in first, second, third, and so on. In the last year, of course, big record-breaking year for the M5 women. Talks this year that something unexpected might be, there's a potential there based on some of the results that have come out of the regatta out in Placentia, I suppose.
Yes, well, the first place crew in the ladies this morning, which was Hydro, was it Hydro?
Yes.
Flow? They put in a phenomenal year so far, and I don't think anybody was expecting them to be as fast as they are, but they're all experienced rowers.
Oh, yes,
and they had an incredible row in Placentia and an incredible row in Harbour Grace. But however, the Cal girls, the Cal group, they were like, this is going to be an interesting championship race. Let me put it that way.
Definitely.
So it looks like the crew in stake 2, Key Assets, really must have had a good turn.
A good turn.
Yeah,
good
and they've because they were in second place going down.
The first stake, I believe, was in
they were in first place right past the boathouse.
May have dropped a couple of oars or something on the way around the turn or something, lost some momentum.
So it looks like Key Assets are going to win this handily, and the crew on stake 4.
Stake 4, probably.
Or, I think it's stake 4. It looks like it'd be Newfoundland Power. They're really rowing strong and good in stroke there now, and looks like they're going to pull out second place.
We're going to picture the line here now as they get a little bit closer. And we hear that gun go off. There it is, your first place winners, unofficial time of 6:19.
So Key Assets rode 7:20 Tom Charles.
Well, what a difference.
But I know there was a bit of wind on Tom Charles. However,
But a full minute.
That's phenomenal time.
That's a full
They're going to
minute.
be really happy with that time.
And of course, second and third coming in faster, and even fourth, everybody coming in faster on Regatta Day than anybody did in time trials. Like,
Well,
that's
I
an
would say
impressive-
every one of those crews just rode their probably personal best now today. And when you line up and race, you know, sometimes you kind of figure out where you think you're going to row, and you hope. And a lot of times, to take the pressure off yourself, just go row your personal best.
Yeah.
And see where that gets you.
Because really, I mean, you're competing against the clock in a lot of these instances. Looking over your shoulders, throwing off your cadence, throwing off your balance. You straight ahead, listen to the coxswain. They're going to let you know where you need to be.
Yeah, there's over my career as a coxswain, there's been a few shouts out of me. Keep your eyes on the boat.
Yes, exactly, right?
Yeah, because it can lead to a missed stroke or something. So,
And
but
on
yeah,
your
no, that was a great row by Key Assets.
And on your screen here, you see them floating around, just trying to stay off the beach, obviously, but just gassed, just hunched over their oars, sucking air. The amount of effort that goes into in this case, barely over 6 minutes, 6:19 or less.
I've often said, you know, every race and the rowers that are out there, whether it's they row the fastest time of the day or the slowest time of the day, the heart and effort that goes into it is the same.
Yeah.
And it's just conditioning and strength and
it's your
technique
full
and all
body.
that. Yeah.
Like, it's not just your shoulder and your elbow and your rotator. Like, full body from toe, calf, knee, hip. You're flexing. Everything is in there.
Well, it's. I think the special about this sport is it's the most individual sport I've ever been part of, because when you get past the boathouse, it's just you and your oar. No one can really tell if you're rowing 100% or not. But it's also the most team sport because you can't go out of your element either. So you got to stay in stroke. You got to keep the cadence. You got to sit up tall. You got to do everything not to stop the effective run of the boat. But as an individual person, it's only you and your oar from the boathouse back, and no one can tell from the bank or even in the boat whether you eased off on a couple of strokes or not. So that's where the individual.
That intensity, that synchronicity, that synergy, like with your team,
that drives.
That's what gets you there.
That's what gets you there. Yeah.
Because I remember speaking with Amanda Hancock earlier, talking about what makes a championship crew, and it's not necessarily that each individual person is the stronger of rowers. It's the way they come together as a team, and everybody's in the part of the boat that is their strength, and you got your power where your power belongs, and good coaching, good coxing.
Yeah, and just you can be in as good a condition as you want, unless your technique and you're in sync as a crew, and there's harmony with the crew. That's when you see crews excel. You know, I've been part of crews that were very, very strong, and we've lost races down here we should have won, and I've been part of crews that we won races that we were predicted to lose.
Yeah.
So it all comes into I guess the intensity of the crew and the whole just camaraderie, and just a lot of times come back to pond, you're kind of rowing for each other. You know, and when you're at that level, that's what it's all about.
We're going to get ready. We're going to set up our next race here down at 2001st, the 201st Royal St. John's Regatta, race number 16, coming up now shortly. And while we're preparing to do that, while we're talking about some of the other things that are going on, we're going to try and round up some winners. See if we can have a conversation with the ladies from Key Assets who just rode an incredible run. But in the meantime, quick shout out to some of the sponsors who are making the regatta happen this year, the Anglican East Diocese. Thank you very, very much. Also to Home Depot, who have generously donated a barbecue that you can win if you come down, submit your name over at the Rogers Ignite TV Red House. And to the Spirit of Newfoundland, thank you so much for the catering, for the coffee. Actually, I could use another coffee. If anybody, anyone? No?
Yeah.
I tried. Thank you nonetheless. So, Jim, what are you most look forward to? Having been a rower or having been a coxswain, the regatta is slightly different for you than, say, it would have been for me prior to working with Rogers. The regatta was somewhere to go and have fun, and there's a beer tent, and there's so it's a totally different culture, totally different history to me. Can you speak a little bit for yourself?
Well, up until this year, this is the first year in 42 years that I'm not hauling an oar or coxswain on a crew on the pond. I took this year off. But what the regatta for me is, especially last part of my career now on the pond as a coxswain for sure, was taking a crew, and I've taken crews that have never rowed before, and just kind of molding them into teaching them how to row, and just seeing them improve and the excitement in that crew. And there's such a level of satisfaction to be able to get them to regatta day and let them go out there and row their best and just learn more about themselves and what the sport has to offer.
And I'm hearing a lot in the rowing community, in the regatta community lately, about the youthification of the sport and how we're getting more and more younger people, like we spoke about, through the families. So as somebody who's worked with first-time crews, I mean, it must be nice to see that, because those are going to be your future record holders.
Well, you know, not too long ago, Jason, down here, we were struggling to get a lot of younger rowers, and the last couple of years, we've had an exceptional turnout of young rowers. And like I said, for your audience out there this evening or this afternoon, just stay tuned, because there's a lot of young rowers out there, and you will recognize, if you've been following the regatta for as long as I have, you will recognize a lot of the last names, and their
Ring,
mothers
King,
and fathers.
Barrington, there's like
they're all over your program this afternoon as we get into the midget and the squirts.
Absolutely. Yeah. And they're always so fun to watch, and it's so fun to be a part of them. We stand around here in the winner's circle, and the energy starts to build, because, I mean, these kids, when they were doing the medal presentations for some of the juveniles, some of the juniors earlier, I remember the girls are 13, 14 years old, and they're getting medals, and everybody's hooping and hollering as much as when the Prime Minister was up here. So, like, it's so nice to see that kind of support from the community.
Yeah. Well, you know, for example, last year I coxswained Steers Insurance, and when we got in championship race, when we got up to get our medal at the championship race, every one of the girls in the boat, they had their kids come up, and all of them,
incredible.
Or some of them had rowed on the pond that day as well. So it was incredible feeling for them. And it just goes to show that the sport is alive and well, and we just got to keep promoting it and encouraging the youth to continue with it, you know?
Well, we are certainly doing our part here at Rogers TV in promoting this. I mean, we're live all day here, trying to bring everybody who's watching on Rogers Channel 9 or any other HD channels, so you can see what's happening. And in partnership with some of the other broadcasters here locally, you get that incredible drone footage. Like when you were, like, let's go back a few years. You didn't have drone footage with, you know, keeping an eye on where everybody in each stake was, so you can, like, accurately predict where people are going, where their time trials are, like where you need to be if you're record breaking as you start to round your turn. Like, you can see things a lot clearer now.
Well, the other thing too with drone footage, I was blown away. As a rower, and every now and then you get to row on a really, really nice pond, and the pond is glistening, and the boat just feels like it's a work of art. And the first time I saw drone footage of our crew a couple of years ago, we had it for practice. I couldn't get over how graceful it looked from the air.
Yeah.
And so we use it as a training tool, and but it just just put a whole new perspective of what actually what a boat looks like with those oars synchronously going in from the air. It looks
It's a thing of beauty.
It's absolutely incredible.
And I mean, you got to think that some of our teams who are going to be racing the championships later this evening, they're going to be watching some of that tape as they sit back with their teammates and their crew. And so we have more to come. Hopefully, lots more interviews, lots more fun, lots more energy, and lots more crowd when we come back just in a little bit. We'll talk to you soon. Hey.
The lift wasn't working and he was in pain, so I tried to lift him on my own. Yes, it's bad. I'll need help.
Can I help you with that?
No, I'm good. Thanks.
Workplace injuries hurt the most at home.
Focused on quality and convenience, there isn't much you won't find at Marie's Mini Mart. Home-style breads, sandwiches, plus a variety of artisan breads and delicious single-serve desserts available exclusively at our Frecker Drive location. Marie's Mini Mart, with 25 locations wherever you go, there we are.
Love you, baby. See you later.
Third place rowing in Stake 5 with a time of 6:34.10, Equinor, Canada.
Well, welcome back to Rogers Television, and we're just getting ready to announce the winners of that last race. I'm here with Jackie. Jackie, that was a minute off their time. That's incredible roll.
It is. It's for, I don't know if they're a first-year crew, but still taking a minute off their time from time trials is amazing.
Yeah.
It's an amazing time. Yeah.
Yeah, I think every one of them. Just look at the camera. I think every one of them beat their time by almost a minute.
Yep.
Yeah, and I know they raced in the afternoon at time trials, and you had crews out there, so it was a little bit windier on time trials compared to today.
Yes.
But still in all, what an achievement.
Oh, it was. Yeah. It's a great day. The wind is coming up a little bit now, but compared to this morning, but it's still good rowing conditions, right?
So they're predicting the wind to go down a little bit later on this afternoon, though.
Championship races.
Champ races, yeah.
That's good. That's good.
So they're here now. They're getting lined up now to start the 320 race. Not the 320 race.
220. 220 race.
The 240 race. 220 race.
220 race, yep.
And on stake one, they're getting lined up on stake one. We had in the Catherine M, we have coxswain Jennifer Brown, stroke Aaron Parsons, Sarah Murphy, Natasha Power, Jennifer Bruce, Melanie Osberg, and Regan Brown, the Spirigillium. On stake two, we have in the NTV network coxswain Keith Bussey, Carla Ford, Shelley O'Brien, Abigail Crocker, Diana Bishop, Angela Kavanagh, and Cindy Grant.
Okay.
Stake four.
And on stake four in the telegram, coxswain Christina Ennis, stroke Krista Williams, 5 Nicole Kiersey, Colette Philpott, Elizabeth Piercy, Kate Keane, and Trinity Cleary.
And on stake 5 in the Ranger, we have coxswain Lenny Williams, stroke Rebecca Vokey, Robin Vokey, Susan Penny, Taylor Shepard, Jesselyn Harris, and Holly Reynolds. So they're getting lined up. It looks like the crew on stake 2 are having a bit of trouble to get queued up there with the toggle.
On stake 2, College of the North Atlantic, this is the all first-year crew.
Oh.
And it's a first-year coxswain, Keith Bussey. And actually, he's on one of my rowing team's Kerbeck's signs. Yeah, so this is his first year rowing, first year coxing, and he's doing a wonderful, great job. Yeah.
Well, Jason and I spoke just before you came on about all the new rowers and how the younger group, but I've noticed as I'm reading out a lot of the coxswains' names and rowers' names, there's a lot of new rowers, like adult rowers.
Yeah,
it's absolutely wonderful.
1952
There's a girl on the College of the North Atlantic. This is her first time rowing now since 35 years ago. Yeah, so she wanted to come back, so they're all back again.
So,
she's back again.
So you've been down here a long while, Jackie. So have you seen as many new crews this year compared to other years?
Yes. Yeah. And there's a lot more new coxswains as well.
So do you think it was the 200 last year might have kind of gave it a little shot in the arm to get things moving?
Yes, I think people got the itch for it, and once you get that, then you'll be rolling then for a long time.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Yeah. Well, it looks like at the view, take our screen here, it looks like the crews are lined up now for the race 16, the rec room female memorial, and there's 4 boats in this race, so stake 3 is vacant, and we're getting ready to sign off here now, and the gun's gone. And Jackie, just walk us through now. Like you coxswain this morning, I think a couple of times.
5.
So what are you telling your crew there now when you're?
Well, everybody has their own start, and so when we do our start, I just got them to just give everything that they have in the start, because your start, and as you know, in your turn is what make or breaks your race, really. Yep. So if you got a good start and you're head on and you can get down to that turn, I mean, you're more than likely going to get a good time for that.
Yeah, it's important to get the boat speed up, and then once you got the boat speed up, and a lot of people don't even realize this, but as you get the boat speed up a bit, it's actually easier to haul.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so,
it doesn't feel like you're dead in the water.
Like the water is lighter.
Yeah.
And anyway, so but it looks like those crews did get off to a decent start.
A good start, yes.
And
they did.
It looks like we're froze there on the clock here.
We're losing.
Here we go. We're on the drone. I was saying to Jason earlier how incredibly it looks like an art in motion from the air.
Yes.
When you're in a boat, for those who've never rowed in a boat, when you're in a boat and you got a coxswain there and they're yelling at you and your lungs are screaming, you don't really feel graceful, but from the air, it's awesome to view.
Actually, it's a really nice. It's a nice view from up there, isn't it, when you're looking down like that?
Well, it looks like we got a really good race happening here.
It is.
Yeah.
Looks like stake
4. Our Astro Roofing seems to have a little edge there now, but not very much.
No. And stake 2 is the College of the North Atlantic, and stake 1, security.
Well,
Now the coxswain on stake 1, Jennifer, she is on my Indie team. Yeah.
she's been rowing a while.
She's been down a
Yeah.
while. Yes, she's
Yeah.
been here a while. Yeah.
Yeah. So when they get down towards the turn, I think we'll get a better vantage point actually who is in the lead. But I can tell you right now, from the vantage point here, from what you're seeing on your screen, it's kind of really hard to tell. It looks
But
like
it looks like they're head to head.
Yeah,
It looks
yeah.
like it's a good race.
And we go to the all-crucial turning
Turn
of
of
the boy.
Yes, that
Yeah.
cursed boy.
And coxswains
Yeah.
will,
Yep.
years ago, would
Yep.
say races are won or lost on the turn.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's
Yep.
so we're going to see right now how these crews are
Yep.
making out. Now all of these crews, like they had fairly slow time trials, and they would have rowed late in the afternoon.
Yes.
And the wind did come up.
It did. It did.
So
Yep.
I expect a similar result out of this race that we had in the last race, where their times are going to be in the 6-minute range.
Absolutely,
Between
absolutely.
6 and
And
7.
that's a wonderful feeling, you know, when your time trials time is like, whether it's, I don't know, whether you want to do 6.5 minutes, 7 minutes, or 7.5, and then you come race day and you take even 10 seconds off your time trials time. That's a huge accomplishment. And you know, it just makes the field. I mean, it's not really all about first place, second place. It is, but when you take that much time off your time trials time, that's a good feeling to have. That's something to be proud of.
You know, you've trained brand new rowers as well as I have,
Yes.
and you know how personally satisfied they are when they get in the boat and they end up rowing their best times ever.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
Look,
this
like,
is
look, they're all-
fantastic.
oh my goodness, they're all going in together.
Yeah. And everybody seems to be
Wow.
having a good turn.
It is. Oh my
It looks
goodness.
like
1 and 2.
stake 1 are out first. That's Jennifer
Yep,
Brown.
Yep.
And
looks
she's
like Keith, stake 2, College of the North Atlantic,
Yep.
is right behind her.
right behind them.
Wow.
And all the crews are out of the turn and making their way back home.
Yep.
But right now it looks like
stake 1.
Spuda Security,
Yep.
Jennifer Brown's team are really
in the lead.
and you know, then there's a strategy coming off the turn too.
Exactly.
Some crews like to lengthen it out. Other crews like to kind of up the rate a little bit
yep.
to get the boat speed back.
Yep.
And it's just you know, it depends on the coxswain and what works for the crew.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Yeah,
what
exactly.
works for the crew and the conditioning of the crew.
Yeah.
But it looks right now that stake 1 is in the lead.
Yeah.
Followed closely by stake 2.
Stake 2.
Yeah, College of North Atlantic.
Yep, Keith Bussey,
and
yep.
And it looks like Astro Roofing are in third.
In third.
And Moro and Crosby in fourth. So they're kind of coming back to pond as their times reflect from time trials with relation to the fastest time to the slowest time.
Yeah.
But I can tell you right now, I'm looking at their 4:53, 4:54 there now. They're
going to have a good time.
They've got less than 2 minutes of rowing left there
Yes.
now. So they're all going to row personal best, I'd say, today. And that is a very satisfying feeling for all of those crews from first to last.
Yep.
Now we're getting a really good side vantage point here.
Yeah, and I know the coxswains now are probably just screaming at them now to just, you know, put the pressure on your legs.
Yeah.
You know, don't lose the boat. You know, it almost looks like stake 2 is pushing ahead there a little bit.
Stake 2 has just made a move.
Yeah, they did. That's the College of the North Atlantic.
And I haven't got my stroke watch going, but it looks
No.
like stake 2, College of North Atlantic.
Yeah,
They've upped their stroke rate a little bit.
They have.
And it looks like that's what's putting them, giving them
in
the
the
edge
lead,
there now.
yes.
And stake 4 are now challenging for second place.
Yeah.
This is awesome race here, guys.
But it's definitely going to be a good time from time trials for all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. College of the North Atlantic, by this point of view, looks like they're in first place right now.
Yep. Yeah, so whatever crew now can hold it together. It looks like College will win this unless
Yes.
they lose an oar.
Yeah.
But
my.
looks like
Don't
stake.
say that.
No, I know. Sorry, guys.
Well, you know, anything can happen.
Yeah.
You know, in a
Yeah.
race, it doesn't matter. Anything can happen.
And it
You
looks
know,
like
and
stake 4 there now. More Crosby.
Yeah. They're coming
Lenny
up.
Williams' team. Looks like they're going to squeeze out second place. And to look at a time that
Oh,
they
here they
rode.
come. Look over there.
So there's College of North Atlantic
Yeah.
coming in there now.
Looks like they're coming in first. In their time, look at the time.
Yeah.
They probably got about 10 strokes left to go.
Yep.
Wow. That is a good race.
So they're going to beat their time for almost 30
Five-
seconds.
Yes.
30 seconds.
30 seconds. There you go.
Yeah.
6:59
Yeah.
unofficial.
So second place.
Nice job.
Second place goes to. It went to
Secure.
Sputa Security. They must have upped the rate a little because I know stake 4,
Yeah.
Mormon and Crosby had an edge about 40 seconds out.
Yeah.
And that's what, you know, if you
That's-
practice finishes, that's what
Absolutely.
gives you that little edge towards
Absolutely.
the finish of the race.
Yep, and I think they all just beat their Tom Charles time.
Yeah. So that's a huge,
Huge
for, I mean, Mormon and Crosby rode 8:36.
8:36.
So,
Yep.
I mean, they just
That's
rode,
great.
they just rode just above 7
Yep.
minutes.
And I
So
bet you
that's-
they're all glad to be done.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yes,
Yeah.
they are all glad to be done now.
And no matter if you're, how hard you train,
No.
The hardest part of racing is waiting to get out the race.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. You train for 3 or 4 months, and it all boils down to that 6 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever your goal is, and there they are right there, College of the North Atlantic.
Yeah, a happy crew
They're
there.
very, very proud.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, I haven't been down around this year as much as I have been in years.
No.
But I see a lot of new faces, and it's fantastic for
Yes,
the sport.
it is. Yeah,
It's fantastic.
There's a lot of kids crew, lot of squirts as well this year. Yeah.
Well, I was what I said earlier before you came on air. When we get into the squirts and the midgets, you're going to look down through. I think one of the last races of the day, you got the coxswains are actually former rowers and championship
Yes,
rowers.
that's
and,
right, yeah.
And they're steering their children.
Yes,
and
exactly,
so what
yeah.
an incredible
It's a-
experience and opportunity.
It is absolutely.
And as we go into the midget category and the squirt category, you're going to see familiar names in the lineup.
Yep.
Because their parents have been rowing for years.
Yes, exactly, and that's
Yeah.
nice to see too when the parents get involved with the kids when they're rowing and just to keep it all in the family, keep it everything.
Yeah. Well, that was a great race
It
because
was.
it looked like everybody had a good turn. You know,
Everyone
you
took their
hate to
time
train
off.
all year and have something happen
Yeah,
on the turn
exactly.
or where you lose an oar or something like that.
Yes.
So it looks like everybody executed the race plan the best way they could.
Yeah.
So, we're getting now into the male midget races.
Yep.
And when we start calling out those names, you're going to see some very familiar faces in relation to experienced rowers, both male and female side. Their children are down here rowing.
Yeah.
And like I said, it was wonderful to see that. And so, but that was a fantastic race.
It was. Yeah, everybody should be proud of what they did. They all took time off their Tom Charles time, and they did a great job.
So, just give me a little bit more background on the crew, the first year crew. So, how did you know them personally and how they got involved?
No, I don't know them personally, but Keith Bussey I do, and his wife Iris Bussey, she's the coach for that team as well. And I know last year Keith was interested in doing some coxing, so he works at the College of the North Atlantic.
Yep.
And so he said to me, he said, Jackie, he said, I want to do the Learn to Row program with the Learn to Cox program. And I said, absolutely, I'll back you up, help you out with that. And anyway, so he have all the ladies on that crew. I think they all work at the College of the North Atlantic, yeah. So anyways, he got a crew together, and they've been training, and they trained every single day.
Yep.
And I'd watch them every day, and the improvements that they did, it was amazing.
So,
Yeah.
I guess the message for our viewers out there is that you're never too old.
Absolutely not.
And if you put the time into it and practice into it,
Yep.
You can come down here and row just like these guys did today.
Yeah.
And walk away with an incredible feeling of a sense of accomplishment and just a camaraderie and sportsmanship.
Yeah.
And plus, the fallout is you're actually going to get in good shape.
Yes, that's exactly. So if it's on your bucket list,
Yeah.
Why not
Don't-
give it a
don't
try?
Don't be shy to come
Don't be
down.
shy.
It's,
No.
And there's a lot of support down here, and there's infrastructure here to support any new crew that wants to come down here, and coxswains, the Learn to Row program, the coxswains program.
Absolutely.
So that you're not just down here on your own. So the Regatta Committee has done an incredible job
Yep.
over the last number of years to put these programs in place to allow
New coxswains.
new coxswains and
Yeah.
rowers who want to try this for the very first time. If it was a bucket list for you, you know,
It's never too late.
you know, the shells are there, and they go on the water, and they're there for your use.
Yeah.
And it's a great sport, and one of the things that a lot of crews that I've steered over the years, the friendships and the bonds that
Oh
you
my
end up
goodness.
creating through the sport, they're life lasting. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. I've been down here now 18 years, and the people that I've, like, you know, is I got 5 crews that I cox, and it's just one big rowing family. We just like help each other out. You know, it's
Well-
it's great. It's great.
I remember
Yes.
when you came down.
Oh yeah, yep, yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bill Hickey was my
Coxswain?
first coxswain
Yeah.
when I worked with the RNC.
Yeah, and-
yeah,
and Bill-
Magic Walk was our sponsor.
There you go. I remember
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Yeah, and Bill was our coxswain when I rowed with Aaron Street Lakeshore Homes when,
Oh, is that- yeah?
in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
so Bill was down here earlier. Now he's moved up on the southern shore, so it's a bit of a commute for him to
For
be
him
back
to
on
come,
the pond.
yeah.
Only for that he'd be back steering a
He'd be-
couple
he'd
of
be
crews.
back
Yeah.
down
So I
again.
think this is one of the first years now he's
Yeah.
missed in a long while
Yes,
relation
absolutely.
to coxswain come down and coxswain and training crews.
Yep, yep.
So it's wonderful.
Yeah, I noticed our famous Michael the Goose is not. I think he must be gone hiding somewhere.
Yes, for anybody who hasn't been down around the lake, there's a goose that loves chewing on rudders of the
Yes.
racing shells, and they
Yes.
got him named Michael.
His name is Michael. Yeah, I used to come down every morning and give him his apple, give him an apple every day. Yeah, just so he wouldn't attack me.
Yeah,
So,
for sure. Yeah.
So I think the teams are getting ready to maybe come over.
Yeah,
Or?
and actually the wind is starting to, well, as I said that now, but it's actually the wind is after stopping,
A
they
little
dropped
bit.
down a little tiny
little
bit
bit,
now.
yeah.
And
it's getting overcast now.
but I think it's going to be great for the championship races. I think
Yes.
the wind is supposed to shift a little bit southerly.
Yeah.
And because right now it's a little bit
Breezy.
northerly,
northerly, yeah.
and there's a fog bank for anybody who's not down there just hanging outside Kitty Vitty. So it better stay outside Kitty Vitty.
Yes.
So we're getting ready now for the race 70 male midget global pet foods.
And stake 1 in the Lambs Palm Breeze. Coxswain is Gordon Delaney, another familiar name. Stroke Or is Ian Moores. 5, Ethan Keane. Number 4, Nathan Ryan. Seat 3, Thomas Dyer. Seat 2, Tyler Halwell. And seat 1, Ty Mitchellmore. And their spare is Ryan Hanlon.
On stake 3 on the Stroke of Power, we have coxswain Rich Wilkins, Jaylene Vokey, Andrew Kelly, Owen Wilkins, Adam Waterman, Josh Holwell, Charlie White. Spare Noah Hill.
And they're off. So Gord's been down here for years and years.
Yep.
A familiar face as a coxswain, yeah. And Melissa Organ, she's been coxing now for the past few years.
Yeah, and one of these, it's amazing that these young juvenile midget rowers,
Yep.
the stroke rates that they got there now.
Oh
I
my
mean,
goodness, yes.
they're just
Pretty,
rowing aggressive.
Because they can.
Yeah, because they can. Yeah, and it looks like stake 1 and stake 5. It's a 3-boat race, so they're spread out.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to present the results of race
With
number
stake
16,
2
the
and 4
Westland
vacant,
Female Memorial
but it looks
Race.
like stake 1
The
and
official
stake
result
5
following
are
is stake
battling it out
First
for the lead.
With a time of 7:03:06, College of the North Atlantic. Second place, rowing in stake 1.
Girls
with a
are very
time of
happy.
7:08:72.
Oh yeah. Well, they
deserve
beautiful
it.
time. Yeah.
They all deserve it for sure.
So it looks like
still stake 5.
it looks like stake 5 got a little edge here.
Yep.
Yeah, it looks like stake 5 got an edge here with Melissa Organ's team. But you can't count Gord Delaney out on the turn either, can you?
No,
Yeah.
that's right.
So, but this is a really, really good race.
I'd like to ask
It looks
the
like
first and second place crews to
Hickman,
come forward
Chrysler,
for
Dodge,
medal
Jeep, Ram
presentation. We'll
are.
start with the second place
Looks like they
crew
they got a little edge there
Little
now,
edge there,
Jackie.
yeah.
It appears.
For the presentation of the
But
silver
again,
medals.
as we get closer to the turn now, we'll
Yeah.
know. We'll see which one
Where they
starts
turn.
first. And for those who are watching on TV, when we watch a race and we're looking at what time the crews are when they're going to make a turn, we call it you'll see a rooster tail. So that's when the coxswain pulls on the rudder really hard,
Yes.
and you see this white spray of white water coming up.
Yeah.
So a lot of times when you when we say okay they just started their turn, you'll notice that the rudder is cranked and it's nice, and when your timing turns, that's when you see that white, you click your watch. So anyway, it looks like Gord Delaney's crew
Is going
Hickman
in.
Chrysler are
Oh, no, wait,
are
no.
on
Yep.
the turn first. Yeah. And
And
it looks like stake five, Melissa Organ, really narrow turn.
Yeah.
Really narrow turn. So that may hurt them.
Yeah.
Because, and you're after drifting. Gord is in and out.
In and out.
Yeah. And if you look at the middle of the screen there now on stake 3, Wilkins Auto Repair.
They're coming up pretty quick.
They just came out in second place.
Yep.
So that's how important the turn is.
Absolutely.
And so the, so the thing with it is now coming back to pond. Obviously, stake 5
took too much.
They had a bad turn,
Yes.
but they were ahead of stake 3 on the way down. So their stroke rate was beating the other crew on the run.
And that's
so,
you got to have a
so
good
it depends,
strategy
yeah.
going in. You need a good strategy going into the turn.
Yeah, so it looks like Gord Delaney's team
Is way ahead, well ahead.
Yeah, Hickman Chrysler is way ahead there now. They're walking away with this, and it looks like second place is going to be a
Stake 3.
battle for
3 and 5.
between Wilkin Auto Repair and Newfound Cabs. So we'll just wait and see, but it looks like, as you can see on your screen, stake 1 with an incredible good turn. Hickman Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram are walking away with this first midget male race.
Yeah.
And there's a battle going now for second.
For second place.
And this is where these two crews now, when you're a young rower like this, the adrenaline hits and you're in a dogfight, and the muscles are screaming, but there's so much adrenaline going through these kids here now. You just give me more water.
Yeah.
And it
looks like they're coming ahead again.
Yep.
Stake 5 looks like they're.
Congratulations to Spuata Security Crew.
So so stake 5, Newfound Cabs.
Yeah.
And this is what I was thinking, because even though stake 3 had a better turn, Newfound Cabs got down ahead of them, and so their boat speed was faster going down.
Yeah.
So if they were going to be able to maintain it coming back, they had an opportunity to make up the difference, and it looks like they're making up the difference.
They're making up there now. Yeah.
And they have. So it looks like Hickman Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Gord Delaney's crew is going to win this race, and it looks the stake 5.
Yeah. Because at this point now, again, the coxswain is screaming.
Yep. But for a young crew, for those who follow rowing, you can see that they're all in time, and they got a good long reach.
Yep. So there you go. Gord Delaney wins that one. So it'll be a battle now for
fantastic row.
Number 2 for
now for the presentation of the gold medal. First place in the Rec Room Female Memorial.
And coming
race,
through your bottom of your
rowing
screen
stake
shortly.
2 with a time of 7:03:06.
It looks like
College of the North
stake
Atlantic.
5 might have it.
Yeah.
Looks like they
Looks
got
like
it.
Newfound Cabs.
Yeah, Newfound Cabs.
But it was quite
They
evident.
got it, yes.
Quite evident that Wilkins Auto Repair put on because they were about a 3/4 of a length behind them with about 30 seconds
and
left.
They picked it up at the last second. Yep. That's good.
Fantastic row.
Presenting the gold medal and the trophy on behalf of the Rec Room are Chris Morris and Paul Topner.
So we got a bunch of tired young boys at the top of the pond here now, but what a well-executed race.
Yes. Yeah. They're tired now.
But there's these types of races and this type of exposure is what bring these kids back next year.
Yes.
And that's why the sport is in good hands. It's in good hands.
Yeah. Because a lot of young ones, just keep it going and keep it going.
So have you got any more races today?
I'm done.
We're done. You got a pretty good voice. You've been out 5 times today.
Yeah, well, earlier in the year, about a couple of weeks ago, my doctor told me I had to take 2 days off because I was to a whisper.
Yeah.
So I just could not.
Yeah.
I could not speak. And so anyways, my voice was just gone.
All right,
Yeah.
so we're going to go to Jason now. Here you go, Jason.
Geocenters in my riding, the batteries in James' riding.
Okay, here we are with Member of Parliament, Mr. Nick Whelan. Nick, thanks for taking the time.
Thanks, Jason. Love to be here.
So, we're in East St. John's. What do you know about East and St. John's?
Well, listen, St. John's East is a historic riding. It's been shrinking over the last 60 years since we joined Confederation. Sorry, 70 years since we joined Confederation. Because as more urbanization, the riding gets smaller as the population gets concentrated in St. John's. So now the dividing line is Freshwater Road, Kenmount Road, and Water Street. So Seamus O'Regan has the harbor, I've got the airport, and this lovely event here, the 201st running of the Royal St. John's Regatta. Real thrill.
So we had a conversation just a little while ago about what you're going to be doing in about an hour.
Well, people might think that my suit is a little rumpled, and I agree, so it's about time for it to be cleaned. So I'm going to be in the Young Adult Cancer Canada dunk tank right at the beginning of Carnell Drive there by the parking lot for the Dominion. And I'm going to be there to help raise money for that great organization, wearing my suit jacket, probably put on some swim trunks. And if you think that you have the ability to knock me down, I'm sure it's probably $5 a throw. I don't think you can do it. You probably have a lot of frustration to take out on politicians, but I'm telling you, you can't bring me down. Come and prove it and support Yak.
So you're going to get 3 tosses for $5. And if you hate Nick Whelan...
No. Hate doesn't, if you want to support Yak, and if you have frustration to take out on politicians, generally.
So Young Adult Cancer, they've done, Jeff Eaton and that crew, they've done so much work for personal friends of mine and for the community as a whole with their Bruised Bowls and charity goals that they do every year. A whole bunch of really, really good fundraisers. And it's nice to see local, notable, Todd Perrin as a chef was there, yourself, Chess Crosby.
Chess was just in now. There's a lot of people lined up, so people might have exhausted their frustrations already. I'm not sure. But what I will say is that they do a lot of great work, not just here in Newfoundland. They're a national organization. They help young adults with cancer across the country. They're sort of thought of as the forgotten generation within cancer. There's a lot of work that's done on children and old folks with their cancers, but this is helping people who are in the primes of their lives. And they're actually doing a study, a medical study on how community supports help improve the recovery process. And so I'm a big supporter of that initiative, their prime study. And I think that's what they're raising funds for here today. So I'm a really big supporter.
Well, now I'm extra excited about the fact that I'm going to hop in that tank a little bit after you. So if you think that you can, well, I don't know. I feel like we should have a bet. How many times do you think you're going to get dunked?
Well, what sort of happens to the politicians is the children just sort of run up and push the thing if they miss.
And so they should, Nick.
Yeah, and so I think that because of the love of the children, I'll probably be going in the tank roughly 25 or 30 times. I hope my back can take it. And if history is any judge, Jason, there won't be any water left in the tank for you, so you're going to be in a bit of trouble.
Any luck, that will absolutely be true. I hear it is freezing cold. Thank you, Nick Whelan. A pleasure as always.
Have a wonderful regatta.
You too. And we will be right back after this.
It's Amanda, and I'm back after a very nice lunch break, back with Diana.
Yes. It's cooler now.
It's cooled off a little, so we have these snazzy Rogers TV hoodies or sweatshirts, so just keep them warm. It's still comfortable enough to walk around in a t-shirt or shorts. It's not cold by any means, but not quite as hot as this morning.
No, much more comfortable for the rowers. And I think what I'm hearing too, because I did a bit of walking around, more comfortable for people walking around.
Definitely. So I believe we're going to set up this 3-boat race here. Race number 18, the Veterinary Specialty Center Midget Male Race number 2.
Awesome. So on stake number 1, it's the Ranger, Coxswain Joe McGraw, stroke Jack Drake.
And on stake 2, there's no one, but stake 3 in the telegram is the Western Star Trucks, Coxswain Dale Kearley, stroke Sam Jensen, Camden Kearley,
Lost it. Okay. So, all right. So stake number 5 in the Miss India is Coxswain Graham Roach. Of course, we all know Graham. Stroke Connor Roach. Number 5 is Mason Daw. Number 4 is Ryan Roach. Number 3 is Thomas Avery. Number 2 is Jack Hopkins. And number 1 is Will Scott. And I had to say those names because I'll have to tell you that, Amanda, 5 of those boys just got back from Corner Brook yesterday. They were out attending a HPP hockey camp. They all qualified to go out there and try out for a Newfoundland team. So those boys have been out with some pretty intense training and tryouts all week in Corner Brook. All super athletes. Will Scott is in that boat. He played AAA hockey last year. His father, Steve Scott, great athlete. So those boys are just back in the boat. So they're dedicated, obviously. So it's a testament of their commitment.
So those are the boys in Crosby Engineering on stake 5 in the blue, which is closest to the screen. So you're saying they've just got back from a multi-day hockey camp and now they're hopping in the boat to row this race.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, to be young again.
So awesome for them. And I'm not sure how long they've been rowing, but anyway, they're all around 13, 14 years of age. So we'll see how they do with this today. Obviously, like you talk about the hockey, the transition of the hockey, the boys with the big legs, the big powerful legs. We know that's what pushes the oar through the water. So these guys, like I'm sure they're tired, but again, as you said, to be young again, I'm sure it's going to benefit them here today.
Yes, and some people might be wondering why in a male race some of the times are in the 6-minute mark, because we can see these time trials times range from 6:08 for Targa, 6:12 for the Western Star Trucks, and 6:29.9, so almost 6:30 for Crosby Engineering. But that's because the midget males row the half course, so they'll be turning at the half course buoys, just like we've been seeing the senior females do earlier. And so when they graduate to the intermediate category, that's when the men or these male rowers will race the whole full-length course.
Right, absolutely. So that's a fabulous vantage point there now we have. It's interesting. There's quite a wide gap between the 3 crews side to side. I always like being on top of the crew next to me and hearing their coxswain and having them that close.
Well, you had to learn to love it with the OzFM Key and Tech rivalry, didn't you?
Exactly, yeah.
Because you were always on top of each other, it seemed.
Yeah, for sure. But like a lot of experience in the coxswains in these crews, because these are young boys. They're just starting off their rowing career. Like I said, Graham Roach is in with the group. Crosby Engineering, so Dan Kearley and Joe McGraw, the other 2 coxswains. So, they got all kinds of experience, and it's great to see them getting out and getting these athletes into the boat and getting them to participate Regatta Day.
Definitely brings a level of comfort to the boys who might be new to the sport, balancing the sport with hockey, school, maybe soccer or something else. So, like Diana said, the advantage of having a 5-boat race is you're closer to your competitor. Some people find it motivating to be able to kind of stare down the person next to you. That makes you push a little harder. But on the other side, if you're further away, it's, for someone who doesn't like hearing their competitor, it kind of calms the nerves. You can get in your zone, do your own thing, just as these boys are doing here around the turn now. And there's also a bit of relief at the turn because, especially on the men's kegs, when they're close, you don't have to worry about collisions, hitting other boats. So,
absolutely.
It can be an advantage or disadvantage depending on what your preferences are to have 3 boats in a race as opposed to 5.
For sure. So they're in and out of the turns. Actually, it's still a pretty close race. Nice to see. I know the times in the time trials are pretty far apart, but these 3 crews look like they got a nice race going here right now. The pond has really settled down. It's a beautiful pond. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. I know the crew here closest to us, which is the Crosby Engineering. Yeah, they got a nice stroke rate going. The timing is great there.
From this angle, it definitely looks like even though they posted the slower time in time trials, it seems that the Crosby Engineering boys are pulling ahead. And you know, sometimes for more experienced crews, there's not a whole lot of difference between your time trials row and your regatta row, but especially for boys or in the midget category, when presumably they're just learning to row, there's room to shave a lot of seconds off, make a big difference in your rowing from the time you row in the time trial in July until the time you compete in this regatta first Wednesday in August.
Absolutely. And we can see here right now, those boys are ahead. They're giving it all there now. They're almost at the marquee. They're hauling a ton of water. They got to keep it together here now. Graham has got to really get them to dig down.
That's, of course, Graham Roach, recent entrant into the Hall of Fame.
Yep. So, yeah, they got a nice, comfortable lead there now. We're talking about, you go.
Crosby Engineering, and they're just about to...
He's having a seizure. I'm calling an ambulance here now.
They're about to cross the line here now. All right, so you can see at this point they're struggling to keep their heads up, struggling to keep their posture straight. You're doing all those checks. You want chest out, shoulders back. Still, you want to keep your blade buried for the duration of the stroke. You don't want to be kind of diving to your toes and letting your oar rise up. You want to be lowering it to the water, preparing for the catch to get a good leg drive through that stroke.
I work at St. John Ambulance.
And 5:16, holy smokes. Crosby Engineering takes off over a minute and 13 seconds from their time trials time. And then in second place, we have the Western Star Trucks coming in a second place. And then in third place, we have approaching here the Targa NL crew. So this race was exactly the opposite of the time trials results. So we saw instead of them finishing first, second, third, as we have in time trials, it was just the opposite. So the team that posted the third fastest time in time trials came first, second fastest time came second, that was the same, and then Targa NL, who was fastest in time trials, would finish in third today. So you never know how it's going to pan out here at the regatta.
So that's exciting because I can tell you that the regiment that they go through at the hockey camp, the HPP tryouts in Corner Brook, I can tell you is pretty intense.
What does HPP stand for?
High Performance Program, what Hockey NL. So five of the six of these boys had to qualify to go to that, and they participated in it. It's a very intense 3.5 days of training. So it's, I mean, for them to drive across the island, and now here they are in the boat, and to win that race is absolutely fabulous. I can't wait to talk to them.
I hope we do get to talk to them. I'd love to hear more about their high performance hockey, and they obviously have a bright future ahead of them. They should be pleased with that result. Man, what a huge jump. A minute, over a minute off their time trials time. That is a great result. They should be pleased with that.
And I guess we know now why Graham Roach is in the Hall of Fame.
Well, yeah, he's earned his berth there today.
Yeah, he produces crews like this, young crews like this. This is a group that are probably going to stay together. All right, so those boys are coming in, and that's race number 18. I'm not sure if we presented the medals for race number 17 yet.
Well, I'm sure we'll hear it being announced behind us.
So they're on their way in now.
So people have been asking what are the green buoys for, and those are mostly, that's where a lot of the safety boats are docked. So as they're not docked or moored up there now, you can't see the safety boats because they're all in use, but those green buoys are just a little notice for the crews to give that area of the pond a wide clearance.
First race. First place rowing in stake 1 with a time of 5:16.81.
So we have behind us the Global Pet Foods Midget Male 1 race medals being presented.
With a time of 5:38.22. Newfound calves. And third place rowing in
So there's still a lot of commotion here, not quite the same commotion as this morning, but lots of people lakeside, and I'm sure there will be many more coming down as we gear up for the championship race, which is at 7 p.m., I believe?
Yes, it is, yep. So we're going to try and get some championship crews down and have a conversation with them shortly. There's the crews are coming in now, race number 17. The winners from that are going to come in now and collect their medals, so we'll have a conversation with them. I do know, though, as far as I know, Gord Delaney had to hop in the boat and go to another race.
Sounds like what Gord would do.
Yeah, so we're not going to see him, unfortunately, up here, but you know, everybody knows that Gord Delaney you have your Gord Delaney's and your Graham Roach and your Patsy Murphys. They're the ones that keep it going here today.
And your Jackie Warfield.
And your Jackie Warfield,
Melissa
yeah.
Snow.
And Melissa, exactly.
So many people doing double time, double duty,
Yeah.
wearing multiple hats here today, and our hats go off to them for keeping the regatta alive, making it happen. And just to tell people the exact times, the female championship race will be at 6:30 p.m. Men's championship race is at 7 p.m. And of course, this will be the last year that order is held, because starting next year, the order of the championship races will reflect the first races of the day. So if the women row first, then they race championship first, and vice versa.
Yep.
So I think that's a positive change. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's only fair. I guess from myself and Amanda's perspective, someone who have rowed for years, you know, it is earlier in the morning, the water is better, and later in the evening, the water is better. So it's only fair to share that advantage to the males and the females.
Exactly right. So the earlier in the morning is better for calm waters, and the later in the night. So the latest spin, it used to be when we were first rowing at 8:35 p.m., but now the latest spin time is 8 p.m.
Yes.
So that's an often mostly sought after spot that gets booked up very quickly because people want to row at that time.
Exactly. So I'm going to actually get the winning crew now for that previous race over to have a conversation with Amanda.
Sure thing. So we see here in our screens, this is one of the crews in the race number 19. Oh, there's one of the Newfound Cabs babies. So it takes a village for regatta participants, and we have lots of mom, dad rowers who are grandparents, aunts, uncles. Kids are down to watch, and maybe they'll be participating someday. So up there is the Newfound Cabs medal winners. So in the next race, number 19, Prime Creative Midget Female 1, which we're going to get started in a moment. Gord Delaney is coxing her crew, and Gord has won many championships, I believe most recently with the Robothan Mackay Marshall crew. And they're lining up on stake number 1 in the Lamb's Palm Breeze, and their sponsor is O'Leary Stables. So stroke Samantha Hutchings, Lila McCrate, Madeline Pierce, Hillary Power, Madeline Dyer, and Grace Evely. Then on stake number 2, in the stroke of power, we have the crew Smith Stockley, stroked by no other than Paul Ring. He's a coxswain, Paul Ring, stroke Mackenzie Perrell. On 5, Isabella O'Leary, Jessica Cantwell, Cecilia Martino, Chase Mitchell, and Renee Hines on that one. In stake number 3, crew Connors Construction / Oceaneering, coxswain Yvonne Knight, Emma Dwyer, Sarah Power, Evelyn Stagg, Riley Murrin, Abigail Grushi, and Lacey Manning. On stake 4, in the CBC boat, we have Big Benz, and the coxswain for that crew is Kelly Buist. The stroke, Isabel Dunn. Number 5, Catherine Kerr, Rebecca Warham, Maggie Carew, Heidi Snow, and Selma Husick. And on stake 5, Freightway International, rowing in the Seahawk, the gold boat, coxswain Sandra Badcock, stroke Bridget Murphy Down, Lauren Stamp, Bridget Clark, Gabrielle Roach, Caroline Milks, Laura Goodridge, Spears, Maria Witten, and Leah Elms. So those 5 crews are just lining up at the start. This is the midget female race number 1. So these girls are around 12 to 14 years of age, and in a very brave feat are lining up to complete the half course, so 1,250 meters. Their times in time trials ranging from 6:24 for the O'Leary Stables to 6:58 for Freightway International. So we'll see what they can do. And if they can, we saw the midget boys take over, I think, 1 minute and 16 seconds off their time from time trials. And so I expect the midget girls might show a similar improvement because That's sometimes what happens. The midget crews really get down to business when they see what a race is like, what the result is like after the time trials. They really capitalize on those 3 weeks or 1 month of training in between time trials and regatta day. So as you can see here, the coxswain on stake 3 of O'Connor's construction/oceaneering was standing up, and that's to assign to the committee members who are responsible for starting the race in the starting box/timing tower, know that I'm not ready. Don't start this race, I'm standing. Because when the coxswains are seated, that the gun could go off at any time. So that's just one way to show the crews or the starters of the race that you're not necessarily ready to go. But here, everybody is ready, and we're doing those short strokes to get the boat moving. I have a feeling this is going to be a very tight race. These midget female race number 1 just underway here at the 201st Royal St. John's Regatta. Just as these girls make their way to the marquee, I'd like to thank the Spirit of Newfoundland Catering. And now we are going to throw to Diana to speak to some winners.
All right, so I'm here now with race number 17 winners, Hickman, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. Their coxswain Gord Delaney is back on the pond. I'm going to get these guys to introduce themselves now.
Tyler Hubble.
Todd Mitchell-Moore.
Thomas Dyer.
Nathan Ryan.
Ryan Hanlon.
Ian Morris. Ethan Keane.
So they're all pretty quiet now. So I'm going to ask you, how long you guys been rowing together?
I just started rowing last year, but they had a team for a few years before that.
Right. So you guys I think I've seen you guys before. So Liam Bridger, I know, is your spear, and he's gone to the West Coast. So you guys have won now a few years. Is that right?
Yep. Won, not last year, but the year before, I believe.
Right. So are your times improving, boys?
Yep.
Yeah. So we're going to keep at it year after year? All right. So next year you guys move up to men's, though, do you? You got one next year at men's. So next year's going to get a little harder. So a little bit more training this year during the winter.
Yeah.
So do you guys play other sports?
I play hockey and softball.
And what about the rest of you guys? Basketball? All right. Congratulations, guys. Good job. Enjoy the rest of your day. All right, I'm going to bring it back to Amanda.
And congratulations to those winners of the race number 17. All right, so we're back to female midget race number 1, unofficial time of 2 minutes. Definitely not a boat length difference between these 5 crews yet as they head into the turn. It appears that stake 2 has a slight lead as they approach the turn, and that would be the Smith-Stockley crew. So veteran coxswain Paul Ring is steering his girls to a good first quarter for sure, and as they surge through their second quarter and prepare to enter that turn.
All right, so we're back to familiar names again now. Hey, Paul Ring. Gord Delaney's in this race also in stake number 1, and we just presented his boys who just won. We just presented them with their hardware. So hopefully now when we get these girls, Gord back in, we'll see what's going to happen then.
Those boys were excited, hey?
Oh yeah, they were very excited. And again, you're looking at, which is really great, which is what I like to see. You're looking at, kids basically who play a lot of other different sports, right?
Oh, here they go around the turn. It looks like from this vantage point, maybe 2 has gone a bit wide or maybe a bit deep, but they're still getting around there.
So we talked about earlier, there was a few disqualifications.
Yes.
So I actually took the time on my break to make to the beer tent.
Working overtime here.
I made it to the beer tent to support Kitty Bitty Brewing, and they actually had a great vantage point. They're right on the women's crew, the women's kegs. So apparently there was a few turns missed on the boy.
And also I heard the disqualification this morning had to do with coming in on the wrong side of the buoy.
Yes, absolutely.
So I think they turned the wrong buoy and then also came in on the wrong side. So of course, very important part of the regatta rules is that you start on one side holding the toggle and you must finish the race on the correct side of the buoy. I've seen some heartbreakers over the years. People get disqualified, crews get disqualified, anywhere, any category from midget, squirt, or well, maybe not squirt, I don't know, all the way up to senior, and you got to abide by those rules.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the coxswain's got a big job to do, but we're seeing some good times from this female midget number 1. I think they'll be definitely shaving some time off their time trials time in this race.
Yep, so they're on their way back here now. We're almost at the boathouse, and we're going to get ready to set up the medals for the male midget race. So as the man that finishes this race for you, I'm going to try and wrangle up the winners from the last race.
And it seems that even though to me, from how I was looking on that drone coverage, even though Smith Stockley's turn was a little wide, it didn't do them any harm because they appeared to be
in 18,
in the lead on stake 2. That's Smith Stockley, Paul Ring, and his stroke Mackenzie Perrell setting a good rhythm for the girls behind her. Isabella O'Leary, Jessica Cantwell, Cecilia Martino, Chase Mitchell, Renee Hines, and Amber Pollitt. So that's definitely Paul. I can see him there. I would recognize him from his stature in the boat. So you can see the ponytails going as these girls fatigue as they approach the finish, and they're just trying to muster up every bit of mental and physical energy they have to try and keep their timing together, keep their oars entering the water and exiting the water at the same time. We can see here in the boat closest to us, timing issues a little bit on the stroke side. We're a little bit off, but that's because we're nearing the end of the race, and these girls are tired, just trying to keep it together, no major mishaps. We don't want to lose any oars, as we talked about earlier. We want to keep all 6 in sync and get across that line. So that team, Smith Stockley, who rode a 6:45 in the time trials, looks like they're going to be either under or very close to the 6-minute mark here, which is a phenomenal time for a midget girls team. So yeah, they'll be just over the 6-minute barrier, but wonderful time, wonderful row, excellent job to the Smith Stockley midget female crew, followed by that looks like stake 4. So it was stake 2, then stake 4, and now I believe stake 1 is going to finish, followed by stake 3. And then stake 5, which is Freightway International, are just coming in behind them. So in the first place, we have Smith Stockley. Second place, we have Big Ben's. Third place, O'Leary Stables. Fourth place, Connors Construction. Fifth place, Freightway International. So great rowing by these young girls. Brings my heart joy to see them down here participating, and makes me even happier that there's a midget female number 2 race. So 5 strong crews right there, your top 5 midget female girls crews right there.
So it seems like a lot of these younger crews are taking a lot of time off their time trials time. That's what it appears right now.
Definitely. The Smith Stockley crew took off, they were just over 6 minutes, and their time trials were 6:45.
Wow.
So they should be pleased with that.
Yeah, that's very impressive, for sure.
So in the next crew, the midget female number 2, we have East Coast Mortgage Brokers rowing, and I just want to send another special shout out to Nikki Carew. Nikki comes from a rowing family. Of course, Denise Carew, a coxswain, Mike and Terry Carew heavily involved, and also Krista Carew, a championship rower, stroke with Robotham Mackay Marshall. Very solid family, very involved, invested in the regatta. I know their minds are elsewhere now because Nikki's going through a hard time, but we just want to say we love you, Nikki, and we miss you here at the regatta. And we hope you get better soon. So what you're seeing here now is crews backing as they back away from the shore. So Paul is just getting his girls, who are no doubt excited after rowing that excellent time, and he's just trying to let some of the congestion dissipate as the 2nd to 5th place teams make their way back to the dock. And of course, when these midget girls head into the dock now, they'll be able to dock at the winner's dock, which is an exciting privilege. So that is the berth with furthest down to the jog, is what they call the winner's dock. So there's a special place on the dock where the first place crews are supposed to go. So in a lot of ways, this row from the top, after you've finished your race, back to the dock side is a bit of a victory lap. After working so hard all season in multiple regattas, multiple competitions, this is their time to shine. time to wave to their families, time for that one time when you're allowed to take your oar off your hand and wave to the people on the shore. This is where you can do that. So, yeah, I hope those girls enjoy it. They worked hard. They deserve it.
Yeah, I got them right here. They are the winners.
You can see there, that's the stroke of power. They're rowing in the stroke of power, and we had a crew earlier, Newfoundland Power, that 6th place men's team, just a couple seconds away from making it into the championship race, but certainly Newfoundland Power, a longtime sponsor of the regatta, so much so that they even have a boat named after them, along like other longtime sponsors such as the CBC, the Telegram, Cougar Helicopters. Yeah, so we can just see some of these boats and crews returning to the dock.
Results from race number 18, the Veterinary Specialty Center Midget Male 2 race. First place rowing in stake 5 with a time of 5:27.84, Crosby Engineering. Second place rowing in stake 3 with a time of 5:40.71, Western Star Trucks. Third place rowing in stake 1 with a time of 5:51.53, Targa, Newfoundland and Labrador.
All right, so we have the official race times for race number 18, the midget male number 2, race number 18. So in first place, receiving their medals very shortly, was Crosby Engineering. Their official time was 5:27.84, so a minute and 2 seconds actually off their time trials time. And second place on stake 3 was Western Star Trucks, official time of 5 minutes 40 seconds .71 for midget male race number 2, or race 2, race number 18, and then Targa NL was in third at a time of 5:51.5. So great job, boys. Keep up the great work.
All right, so we've got the second
so they weren't
place
listening
crew,
just
the
then.
Western Star Trucks, with coxswain Dale Kearley, stroke Sam Jensen, other crew members Camden Kearley, Eric Butt, Noah Boone, Will Earl, and Jonathan Adamson. Congratulations. Presenting the silver medal on behalf of the Veterinary Specialty Center is John McKenzie and Rowan McKenzie. Congratulations.
I can give a mic. Okay.
Now, the home again segment is first, all Anglican East, and then I'm on after that. So.
Fan clubs are good.
Test. Good. Good audio. Stand up. Okay, so I'm standing here lakeside with Maureen Limburner from Home Again Furniture Bank. As your t-shirt shows, show the crowd. Let's talk a little bit about what Home Again is.
Home Again is a nonprofit organization that aims to end furniture poverty. So each week we deliver furniture and housewares for free to homes across the Northeast Avalon.
Can you elaborate a little bit on what furniture poverty is? Because I'm aware that people may have a hard time accessing some necessities in their life, but I've never heard the phrase furniture poverty before.
Yeah, furniture poverty refers to the fact that a lot of people live without basic furniture. So there are many people on the Northeast Avalon and elsewhere that don't have beds to sleep in, a sofa to sit on, or table and chairs to share a meal around.
So in your capacity with them, in setting up, collecting, distributing, this is a project that's been ongoing now for about how long?
3.5 years, just over 3.5 years, yeah.
And there's also an association here, of course, with one of the major regatta sponsors this year, the Anglican East Diocese. So can you talk a little bit about what it feels like to be associated with somebody who's doing so much for the community in so many different ways?
Absolutely. The Anglican East NL has been a fabulous supporter of Home Again from the very get-go. They have gave us our Kickstart money that enabled us to start. We've got office space, we have volunteers, committee members. They've come out in many, many ways to support Home Again to make sure we are able to function.
That's absolutely excellent. So if we could send a message to everybody who's watching now, into the audience, what types of things, if they have, that is in good condition, that we can, where they can go with it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So good condition are the key words for sure. So we accept gently used furniture, any type, sofas, tables and chairs, love seats, beds, dressers, anything you can think of. And simply you can check our website, homeagainfb.ca, or email us at info@homeagainfb.com.
Absolutely amazing, Maureen. Thank you very, very much. And as we conclude this conversation, I'm going to get my good buddy and co-host from Out of the Fog, Thursday nights. We'll call that Out of the Fog Late Night, Out of the Fog Live. This is Mr. Donnie Cody. Hey, Donnie, come on in. Thank you, Maureen.
See you later. Thank you so much.
Kissing babies, you a politician?
Oh my God, it's a good life we're living here. What do you have, buddy?
I'm just hanging out. I'm hanging out at the lake. It's a beautiful day.
You know
There's
what?
lots
It's
of people
not too
around.
sunny. Not too sunny. A nice little overcast, little moment helps the day go smooth. No one's sweating to death there, are they?
Keeps the...
I know exactly.
Sweat
Yes.
off the brow.
Otherwise, I'd be in my trailer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're
This
such
guy
a
is the
diva.
hardest working dude in show business. This is a long day down here at the pond. So many people, so much energy. I don't know how you do it, bro.
Caffeine?
Yeah, that's what it is. All it is. And
Mostly.
a little boot flask.
And
maybe.
ginseng and
Oh.
taurine. I think that's the stuff that's in the energy.
There's B6 or St. John's Wort. I mean, we're all just living our vitamin lives here these days, right? Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about this year's or this upcoming season on Out of the Fog on Thursday
Yes.
night.
I can't believe it's our third season going into it, which is crazy. Like, where does the time go? But me, you, and Melissa have had such a great time meeting so many people locally, so many guests, musicians, not-for-profits, businesses, all sorts of wicked people trying to make change and do good things across the province. And it's so cool to get to hang out with them every Thursday night, especially with Slim Macho on the tables, which has been a laugh. My little Rod Roddy moment going on there, right? So it's been great, man. Super thankful and super excited for the fall. So many people are going to be coming on the show. So many cool things that everybody deserves to be talking about, and it's going to be great.
So, do you have plans? I know you're a planner. You're a planner, right? Like, you'd like to know ahead of time everybody that's going to be coming in, when they're going to be coming in, because, like, you're a man about town. You're a busy dude.
We
You
like to do things. Don't we like to make it all happen? Yes. So between company life, yeah, I like to plan to make it all go down smooth because I want people to tune into the show and feel like we know what's going on. And it's a lot of work to organize a show. A lot goes on behind the scenes, and the volunteers at Rogers really are the heroes. They come in, they do all the roles that you'd appreciate, and I'm just thankful, and especially Linda and Perry and Fisher and everybody behind the scenes. It's just wicked.
Okay, one last thing before we go talk to a couple of winners over here. Can we talk for a little bit about Rogers Ignite?
I feel like I've been beamed up into the super universe of how TV was meant to be.
Right?
The fact that I can pick up my phone or my remote and hit a mic button and say everything I want to say, and then it happens on the TV, that is the future, baby.
Like, you can literally go watch Mount Pearl Anthem on YouTube.
Over and over again. And by the way, guys, if you have not YouTubed this yet, check it out. Jason killed it. And Mount Pearl, I mean, they're winning 1,000% right now, man.
100,000%. All right, Donnie, always great to see you, man.
You too, love you too.
Thank you very much.
Peace, guys.
And let's go have a conversation with Diana and talk to some more winners.
Hi, so I'm back. No. All right, so I'm back now with the winners of the Midget Male 2 race, Crosby Engineering, and I'm going to get these guys to introduce themselves. To my right, everybody knows, but you go ahead anyway.
Graham Roach.
Will.
Will who?
Scott.
There you go.
Jack Hopkins.
Ryan Roach.
Thomas Avery.
Yeah, speak up, boys.
Mason Daw. Connor Roach.
All right, so guys, congratulations, first of all.
I'd like to thank the sponsor, Dean Hopkins with Crosby Engineering.
Awesome, good job. I want to add a note that 5 of the 6 of these boys just came in from Corner Brook yesterday, is that correct?
Yes, they were trying out for the hockey out there. The A is the boys, or?
For the HPP program?
Yes, and so it's their first time out in over a week, so they really rode excellent, I must say.
Right.
Really proud of them.
So I was talking a little bit about it earlier. I was saying how the H&L, the HPP program is really intense.
Yes,
and it's been a hard week for the boys. I'm going to get Will to talk about that. Will, talk to me about the week. How was it out in Corner Brook?
It was deadly out there. What a time.
Was it hard? Did you work hard?
Yes, it was hard.
It was hard. So how were you guys today? Were you tired?
Yes.
You didn't. So I'm going to tell you, we watched the race coming in, and I'm going to say that the boys looked really strong coming in. You rode awesome. So what's the favorite sport, hockey or rowing?
Hockey.
Hockey. But you find the rowing is good? You cross train with the rowing with the hockey. Is that good for the hockey?
Yeah, definitely.
So what kind of training, off-ice training do you do that will help you with the hockey and the rowing?
Not really.
Nothing at all. So, Graham, do they do anything off-ice?
I don't know.
I know. I know.
I wish they were like that in the boat.
I don't suspect they're always like that, are they?
Yeah. No, they're not all the time, no.
Anyway, boys, congratulations and enjoy your day. Good job. Thanks. All right, so we're going to go back to the race here now with Amanda.
Awesome. Love seeing the youth, love seeing the energy. So there is a race in progress here, about 3 minutes and 17 seconds in to race number 20. We didn't get a chance to queue up this race, so I'll run quickly through the crews and stakes and sponsors. So stake 1, Black and McDonald rowing in the Miss India 2. Coxon, Gary Squires, stroke Julianne Osmond. Number 5, Kate Squires, Abby Tizard, Fern Zadell, Alexandra Smith, Michaela Driscoll. Stake 2, the Orthodontics Associates rowing in the Marine Institute. Melissa Organ is the coxswain, stroked by Samantha Madigan. Number 5, Sarah Edwards. Number 4, Brooklyn Bishop Wade, Claire Neary, Annabelle Hickey, Taylor Clow, and Spares, Sarah Smith and Candace Pollitt, and Coach Carol Ann Edwards. Stake number 3, East Coast Mortgage Brokers. In the coxswain seat is Rich Bailey, who we were speaking to earlier today, once already, so this is at least his second row. In the stroke seat is Emma King, number 5, Sarah Maloney, Juliet Hudson, Mia Normore, Carly Saint, Amy Butt, Spears, Catherine Lake, Katie Bittiscombe, and Coach Kelly Saint. Stake number 4, O'Keefe Roofing in the Telegram. Coxswain Megan Willett, stroke Megan Wall, Ava Blackwood, Gracie O'Keefe, Peyton Fleming, Lauren Manning, and Kira Green. So this is crews who were seated after time trials number 6 to 9 in the female midget and number 2 category. So we are just seeing them come up to, I believe, the marquee mark or just beyond it, and they're going to be, yes, there's the marquee as they're going by it. That looks to be stake 1, which is Black and McDonald.
And stake 1, it appears, had the fastest time in the time trials.
Yes. Oh, no, so that wasn't stake 1. Or maybe it was stake 1. It's hard to tell.
No, I think that's stake 3 there now, actually.
Because if it's the winning team.
Yeah, we might, and we might
in blue.
The camera that we're looking at now, we might have all the crews in the camera range.
That's
I'm not sure,
true, because
right?
in the lead, definitely from this angle, is the East Coast Mortgage Brokers. And they're rowing for Nikki there today. I know they are. She's so proud of that team. So their time, this stake 3, East Coast Mortgage Brokers in time trials was 7:40.99. Again, they're just around the 6-minute mark here. This is going to be a huge row for them. Oh, they got to keep rowing, girls.
I think they're on the wrong side of the buoy, are they?
Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh.
They're on the wrong side of the buoy, I think.
I can't watch.
Oh,
Kills me.
Are you sure they were on stake 3?
I hope so. I don't know what that was about. It looked like the stroke stopped rowing as they were approaching the finish.
They're on the wrong side of the buoy,
Well, we'll have to wait for the official results to see if what was going on there for sure.
The crew just came in on stake 2.
It is not normal for a stroke or, as you know, because that's what you said, to stop rowing before you cross the finish line.
So I don't know if she sensed or something, but
well, I'm sure we'll hear if they did cross on the wrong side of the buoy. We might not get the official results. Perhaps the stroke just stopped rowing because she thought they were at the end. We will have to wait and find out.
We're going to present the official results for race number 19, the Prime Creative Midget Female 1 race. The official results: first place rowing in stake 2 with a time of 6:05.60, the Smith Stockley crew. Second place rowing in stake 4 with a time of 6:17.08, Big Ben's. Third place rowing in stake 1 with a time of 6:22.04, O'Leary Stables. Fourth place rowing in stake 3 with a time of 6:25.01, Connors Construction Oceaneering. And fifth place rowing in stake 5 with a time of 5:47.68, Freightway International. Congratulations to all the crews. We'd like to do a medal presentation now to the first and second place crews.
All right, so we've got some official race results from race number 19. We've got the official, we said the places that they finished in, but starting with the stake 2, who were the winners, Smith Stockley, their official time was 6:05.6. That's for race number 19, the midget female number 1. So not the race you just saw, but the one before it. Second place on stake 4 was Big Ben's, time of 6:17.08. Third place, stake 1, O'Leary Stables with a time of 6:22.04. And then in fourth place on stake 3, Connors Construction Oceaneering, a time of 6:25.01. And last place on stake 5 was Freightway International with a time of 5:47.68. So great rowing by those midget females, and I'm interested to hear the official times for female midget race number 2, which just wrapped up here next to us, to see if there's how much they've improved.
So that was race number 20. I think we still got to figure out if they finished on the wrong side of the buoy or not.
Yes, definitely. I'm sure it will be evident from the look on their faces as they come in, because when a call like that is made, they let the crew know as soon as possible.
Yep.
And sometimes the crew knows themselves if they didn't come in on the right side.
Totally. And we could be mistaken, because that was a 4-boat race. So I'm not really sure if I was a bit confused as to whether or not they did finish on the wrong side of the buoy. But anyway, well, I guess we'll find out pretty quickly. So we're going to try and grab some more winners from race number 19. The second place crew are just getting their medals. And the winner was Paul Ring. So we're going to have Paulie Ring back again.
Of course, Paul Ring and his daughter Tina have been rowing for a long time. They're household names down here at the regatta. And we'll be speaking to Mr. Paul Ring and his rowers, his winning athletes, after this short break. So we'll go to break now.
All right, girls.
Mom, you said it's played again.
Workplace injuries hurt the most at home.
Focused on quality and convenience, there isn't much you won't find at Marie's Mini Mart. Home-style breads, sandwiches, plus a variety of artisan breads and delicious single-serve desserts available exclusively at our Frecker Drive location. Marie's Mini Mart, with 25 locations wherever you go, there we are.
set up.
And the manager for Tool Apparel. Apologies for that mistake. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, so we have some winners here waiting in the wings that we're going to chat with. But first, we're going to set up race number 21, the Leverett Group Midget Female race number 3. And that is the, on stake number 1, Mary Brown's Avalon Mall in rowing in the Stroke of Power, Coxon Melissa Snow, and stroke seat Olivia Purcell. This is a 3-boat race, so there'll be no one in stake number 2. Stake 3, Jost Winery. And they will be rowing in the Lambs Palm Breeze, Coxon Jim Goss, and stroke Ella Goss. Jim Goss, a friend of mine from the triathlon days, and that is, of course, his daughter in Ella Goss in the stroke seat. And on stake 5, we have Smith Stockley 2, rowing in Smith Stockley 2 is the crew Tim Hortons Calls, Sam Roberts, Cement Finishing, Coxon, Brian Healy, stroke Lauren Harris. So we can see this 3-boat race getting ready to go.
All right, so we set up first right now. Race number 19 with Paul Ring. So I'm going to throw
Of the female midget race number 2. I know who this is standing next to me, but I'm going to get the girls and Paul to introduce themselves just right now.
Paul Ring.
Renee Hines. Cecilia Martino. Chase Mitchell. Isabel O'Leary. Amber Paulette. Jessica Cantwell.
You guys had quite a row out there. How was it from your perspective, Paul?
They rowed really well. I'm proud of that.
And you taught them how to do that?
Well, a little bit. Yeah, so, they're trying to teach them one stroke at a time. And that's what paid off, I think.
One stroke at a time, one step at a time is a good motto for a lot of things. Is this a first-year crew?
No, this is their fifth year.
This is your 5th year together?
Yes.
How did you guys come together as a crew?
I don't know.
She's shy, okay. Anyone not shy want to tell me about your crew? Oh, great. What's your name again?
Cecilia Martino.
Okay, Cecilia, how did you guys find each other? How do you all know each other?
They're related, and we're all friends with her. So we joined.
So this is your grandfather, is it?
Oh, no. Are they related? Yeah, we are, but not grandfather.
Okay, distant relation. Well, anyway, they had him at the helm, and definitely he helped them out. How was the turn?
The bow side did a really good job.
Way to go, bow side. Raise your hand if you're on bow side. Was it a hard turn?
It was good, yeah.
It was good. Awesome. Will you girls come back and row next year?
Probably. Yes. But, yes. Hope so.
Well, how about you? Will you be back with the female midgets next year?
I hope to come back, yeah.
She's doing a circle thing with her hands.
Okay, circle thing with your hands, I think, means wrap it up. Congratulations, girls. Great work. Over to Diana.
Hi, okay, so I'm back, and we have race number 21 on the go. Amanda just spoke to the ladies that were in race number 19. So we are at 2:09 here. The girls we had the stakes set up for you. So right now the girls are heading down the pond, and they're getting ready to go into the turn. Pond conditions are still great. Amanda's back with me now, and we're going to try and grab winners in from race number 20. Seems we're in a bigger spot here. It's more congested. It's harder to try and get people in here, it seems like. But it's important. We want to talk to all the winners, especially all these young crews who put so much hard work into it. It's important to acknowledge what they're doing.
Definitely, and we want to see them back. I was just talking to those Smith Stockley girls, and I said, are you going to be back next year? And they said, probably. So hopefully that turns into a yes. So it looks here that the stake 5 is going on a bit of a strange course, or maybe they're just choosing for a very wide approach to stake 5.
Yeah, so that's Brian Healy coxing that crew. I'm not familiar with him.
Nope, they've got a few sponsors who looks like they've come together to sponsor the team here. Tim Hortons calls Sam Roberts Cement Finishing, so which of course is great when you can get the cooperation to do that. So great angle of the turn here. You can see the stroke side is holding water. Number 6 and 4 and number 2 is setting up the balance. As 1, 3, and 5 just haul their arms off.
well, there's only 3 boat race now, so 5 are out and gone back. And
no, 1.
Oh, sorry, 1 are out and gone back, and 5 took a little bit of a wide turn. It's almost like they rode around the turn there.
Yep. So stake 1 taking off and headed back before the rest is Mary Brown's Avalon Mall, followed by Jost Winery, which, as I mentioned, Jim Goss, a friend of mine from triathlon, and his daughter Ella Goss is on stroke. And back in number 1 is Jenny Carter, who is the niece of champion rower Katie Wadden. So I'm sure, I have no doubt she's been inspired by her Aunt Katie to pursue this rowing. And then stake 5, who was the 3rd out of the turn and is last heading back, is the composite crew from Tim Hortons called Sam Roberts Cement Finishing.
So we're heading up to the marquee there now, unofficial time of 4:23. You see the crowds along the bank there for sure.
Yeah, of course, the new beer tent drawing lots of attention. And when you turn around those boys at the half-course kegs to hear the hoots and hollers coming from the beer tent is very special. And I know I have friends today who have a long tradition of watching this race from the Legion over there on Pleasantville. So I'd like to just give a shout out to the huddlers from my high school group. I know they're at the Legion. I know they're having a great regatta day over there. And they've done their day in the beer tent, and they cheered for me for a good few races from that beer tent. So I hope they're having a great day to the huddlers.
3rd place rowing in stake 4 with a time of 7:18:33, O'Keefe Roofing. And 4th place rowing in stake 5 with a time of 7:26:79, Orthodontics Associates. Congratulations to all the crews.
So unofficial time of 5:27.
Move forward with the presentation of the medals. We'll start
crew
with the
in
silver
first. They're
medal
just
first
past the
before we
marquee.
present it to the Black and McDonald
So they have a
crew.
pretty big
With that,
lead over everybody else.
To the winner's circle area.
And we're going to try and get some more winners here now for Amanda to have a conversation too.
So Black and McDonald.
We're going to get Amanda now to finish out this race here, and I'll get the winners for the other race.
Yep, so Melissa Snow is having a successful day for sure.
Abby Tizard, Fern Zidell, Alexander
And in the
Smith,
screen there now, I believe that's the Tim Hortons calls Sam Roberts Cement Finishing.
Presenting the silver medals on behalf of Air Miles are Kevin Galbraith and Leanne Pitts. Congratulations to the Black and McDonald crew.
So, unofficial time of 6:22, we have the first place crew crossing the line on stake 1. And that's the Mary Brown's Avalon Mall. So stake 1 was first. And I think we're going to see stake 3 here following closely behind them. The drone footage here. Oh, maybe I made a mistake because this looks like this is definitely the Jost Winery crew. So they came second. The angles with the drone are a bit difficult to look at sometimes. So maybe that was stake 5 who crossed the line first. And it wasn't the Mary Brown's Avalon Mall. We'll get a different camera angle and see. All right, so that brings the conclusion of the female midget
Congratulations to the Black and McDonald
race
crew.
number 21 to a close. And that is the end of the midget category. So we've seen there was 1 midget boys race, and then there were 3 midget female races, and now we move on to the squirt races. So this is one of my favorite parts of the day. I have got to say, it's so great to see these squirt crews out there. They do a 1-shot, 1 way from the halfway half-course kegs to the top, and they wear life jackets, and I believe they have to be over the age of 10, and you can participate in the squirt category from age 10 to 12.
And Katie Biddiscombe.
So a little bit of commotion behind me. We can see in the screen here Melissa Snow's crew just taking it in.
The gold medals on behalf of Air Miles are Kevin Galbraith and Leanne Pitts. Congratulations to the East Coast Mortgage Brokers crew.
So that's Mary Brown's Avalon Mall rowing towards the dock there with Melissa Snow standing up and commending her girls on a great race. So they're just kind of winding down here, taking it in. So we'd just like to thank here the Anglican East Newfoundland Labrador, proud to be an inclusive community that values the diverse members of our province. Big part of sponsoring what's happening here today. And of course, Spirit of Newfoundland Catering. And they're still accepting entries to win that barbecue that was donated by Home Depot. So you can visit the Rogers Ignite tent and try to win the barbecue at the head of the pond. And Mary Brown's Avalon Mall here, really, as you approach the dock, you really got to take your boat speed down. And sometimes that's accomplished by taking the pressure off of your full stroke, or you can also take it down to a touch, which is arms only. So you're sitting up straight and just kind of dabbing with your arms, as the Mary Brown's crew you see in the screen here is doing now, just trying to dock the boat. Better safe than sorry on these docking episodes, but these crews do this every day, so they're pretty comfortable with docking at this point. And as you can see now, they're close enough to get to the dock, and so they let their oars go by the sides.
Congratulations to the East Coast Mortgage Brokers crew.
So we have the East Coast Mortgage Brokers winners just being ready to talk to Diana. Okay. So some very excited girls getting ready to chat.
Good. All right, so I am here with the winners of the Midget Female 2 race, East Coast Mortgage Brokers. Is that it? Yeah. Congratulations, girl.
Thank you.
I'm going to get you to introduce yourselves.
I'm Catherine. I'm Katie. I'm Sarah. I'm Carly. I'm Juliet. I'm Amy. I'm Emma. I'm Mia.
Rich, of course.
All right, so everyone knows who Rich Bailey is because he's here a long time. So, girls, what are we doing here? We got lots of tears. What's on the go? Tell me what's going on.
One of our sponsors this year was diagnosed with breast cancer, so this row was dedicated to her.
That's awesome, and I'm sure she appreciates that very much. How long you guys been together?
4 years.
First year for this team. So did you guys enjoy it?
Yes, we did. It was really fun.
So are you going to come back?
Yes, for sure.
For sure. So you guys play sports off ice?
Yes, a lot of us do cheerleading, soccer, things like that.
Awesome. So did we get a medal for the sponsor?
I'm not sure.
No? Well, we're going to have to try and get one, and I'm sure she's watching you guys. All right. Congratulations, girls. Great job, and enjoy your day. Now I'm going to put it back to Amanda. Oh, okay. Actually, we're going to take a break at this point. All right.
of the last race, the last female midget race of the day, the Mary Brown's Avalon Mall, a great row by the midget girls. Introduce yourselves.
My name is Leah. I'm Jane. I'm Ollie. I'm Rachel. I'm Olivia. I'm Emily.
Melissa.
Clyde.
Melissa Snow, we've heard your name a lot today. You've been a busy lady. So I said, who wants to talk? And they all do. So how was it out there, girls?
It was so good. I mean, it was a really good pond, and I think we all did our best, so I'm really proud of us.
Do you know what your time was?
6:25.
And how does that stack up to your times earlier in the season?
That was our best time so far this year, yeah.
Best time ever?
Yeah.
You've got some big smiles from your coaches and Coxon down there. How do you feel about it?
I'm really happy that we got gold this year, and we did our best time that we've ever done, and I'm proud of us.
That's awesome. So how many years have you guys been together as a crew?
As a crew, this is our second year together. Last year we came third overall in Regatta in our race.
Okay, so do you think you'll be back next year?
Oh, for sure we will, yeah.
That's great, and it looks like I'm just going to dodge over here because we have Clyde Tucker, a veteran here at Kitty Vitty Lake, and Melissa Snow. You've been so busy today. How are you coping with it?
As you can tell, my voice is gone.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Could the girls hear you?
Oh yes, I find it deep down inside to find something. Yeah.
You've been training all year for this?
Yes, we have been, yes. Yeah.
Excellent. And Clyde, tell us about your involvement with the crew.
Oh, well, they asked me to join them, so I said, sure. I said, I'll coach them. And what a great bunch of girls. I mean, they're die-hard. God love them. I'm so proud of them.
So proud of them. I think a lot of people are proud of these girls. And what about is your age range? What's the average range of the girls on the crew?
14 and 15 years old.
14, 15 years old. This is an excellent accomplishment. Your best race. Congratulations, you guys. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That is the winners of the female midget race number 3, Mary Brown's Avalon Mall. And we're going to throw back to Diana.
All right, so we're going to get set up now for race number 22. We're winding down here this evening now. We have the last few races up. We're just going to get it put up on the screen there now. So the crews are just pulling to the top of the pond. All right, so race number 22, stake 1. The NTV network is Cox and Maria Roach, stroke Greta Colford. Number 5 is Georgia Ryan. Number 4 is Lily Byrne. Number 3, Ella Duffett. Connie Duffett is her mom. Number 2 is Claire Murphy. And number 1 is Abigail Bridger. The spear is Emma Pittman. So we're going to stake number 2 is the Marine Institute. We have Coxon Janine Hewitt, stroke Delaney Drover. Number 5 is Lacey Baker. So her brother Mitchell Baker is a goalie with with the A hockey. So the Bakers are down supporting her. Number 4 is Carly Marsh. Number 3 is Elizabeth Morey. Number 2 is Sarah McQueen. Number 1, Olivia Weatherton. And their spear is Madeline Connell. Stake number 3 is the Catherine M. Their coxswain is Darryl Price. Stroke is Sydney Jane Whitty. Number 5 is Eve Martin. Number 4 is Emma Griffin. Number 3, we have Sarah Johns. Number 2 is Brooke Henderson. Number 1 is Caitlin Baker. And the spear for that group is Morgan Wade. Stake number 4 in the Telegram, we have Cox and Colleen Bolger. Stroke is Heather Bolger. I'm sure they're related. Number 5 is Chloe Kim. Number 5 is Jenna Butler. Number 3 is Brooklyn Reese. Number 2 is Jordan Neary Peddle. Number 1 is Sarah Han, and their spear is Brooklyn Bishop Wade. And I think that might be stake number 5 is the Ranger with Coxon Iris Bussey, stroke Alexis Abbott. Number 5 is Sky Evans. Number 4 is Emily Edmonds. Number 3 is Rebecca Healy. Number 2 is Kathy Manning. Number 1 is Kate Turpin. And the spears for that boat are Megan Skinner and Stacy Lynn Kenny. So I have Amanda back with me now. And Amanda, we're at race number 22. And they're just lined up at the top of the pond there.
So as we said earlier, the squirt races only go halfway. So that's why the times are in the 2/3 minute range. So they won't be doing a turn of the boys like the senior crews. They're just going to be going one way because this is the squirt category just to get the kids introduced to rowing and very exciting.
So we just gave out the medals to the Mary Browns girls. They seem pretty excited.
Definitely. The Mary Browns Avalon Mall said they'd be back next year for sure, and their coxswain Melissa Snow and coach Clyde Tucker had so many good things to say about them. So seems like a well-oiled machine, the Mary Browns Avalon Mall team. I did want to mention before we tee up the first squirt races, the records which are kept for the squirt category. The female squirt record was set in 2016, and I remember because I was on air with Rogers, and I was like, is that a new squirt record? Anyway, it's 2:37.60, and that was set by FW Connolly Electrical in 2016. So you can see the squirt girls here with their life jackets, ready for anything. And the male squirt record is 2:26.9. And that was set by the Green Sleeves / Men's Den, also in 2016. So 2016 was a big year for squirts.
Awesome. So we'll see now. Do we have not only winners today, but we'll also see who the records. Do we have any records following here today?
Exactly.
So I hope we get to interview the squirts. That should be interesting.
It's always funny. Yeah. So the a key challenge, I mean, that we talk about in rowing is, especially in these squirt categories, these kids are often so light that they don't weigh the boats down in the same way that senior men and women do. So the boats are quite high out of the water, and it's quite a challenge for these smaller humans to keep their blades buried. And so what we mean by blades buried is the white part of the oar that you can see there in the screen. We want that to be underwater for the time they put the oar in to the time they take it out. It should be fully submerged. So we should not see like the white tips coming up, and that can be quite a struggle for the squirt crews. So a lot of crews deal with this by having a very high stroke rate. So I expect some of the highest stroke rates we've seen today will be in the squirt races.
Yes, absolutely. And not only that, the point too also by keeping the oars down, for these girls and guys in the squirt races, they are so light. The boats are going to be quite tippy for them. That's going to be another challenge for them. But listen, they're out there and they're trying it, so which is really exciting because it's good to have so many squirt races. We have 4 races, males and females. It's good to see so many kids trying out the sport.
Because by the time you bat your eyelashes, they'll be, 19, 20, and in the intermediate categories. So that won't take long at all, as these kids are between ages of 10 and 12, 13, I believe.
Yeah, 12
I know
probably.
The average age of the midget girls is in the 13, 14 range. So this is even younger. Our most babyest participants, I won't call them babies because they're not. They're just our youngest category. They are our squirts.
But pretty exciting for them. Like, we have 4 of these races now. We're ending off the regular schedule of the races for the day before we take a supper break and head into the men's and women's championship races. There's a really big crowd down here at the pond, and what's really good about these young girls and guys is they have tons of family support. And again, like all of these, if you take the conversations that we've had with the winners today, the interviews we've had with the winners, all of these folks play a lot of different sports. So it's just great for them to see them to take this time to come down, because unlike other sports, for anyone that's participating in the regatta, this is the only training venue, so everybody has to come here and share that. So that's a challenge in itself to juggle that with everything else.
That's for sure.
So you might find, again, as Amanda mentioned, these folks are a little bit lighter. It might be a little bit more of a challenge for them to line up at the top of the pond.
Yep, challenging to line up, challenging to keep the boats, as if it's not difficult enough already to keep the boat balanced,
Yeah.
but it's even an added challenge for these guys due to their light body weight. And so they really have to focus on pulling, we would say pulling in high, so definitely trying to pull in up around your shoulder / armpit area to try and get that blade to stay in the water. And of course, that's why one of the reasons we advocate for the adjustable washers, so that crews can adjust the height accordingly. But even when the adjustable washers have been moved to their maximum height, these squirt crews still have challenges keeping the blades buried. So I'm sure they'll do fine though. Looks like they're ready to go. Of course, the mandatory rule for the squirt category is everyone has to wear a life jacket, a personal flotation device.
And the good thing right now, Amanda, which is you don't normally see, the water has been pretty consistently good the whole day. It seems almost like it's gone down a little bit more there. So that that's a challenge that they don't have to face. They're not facing a big lop on the pond. So it should be fairly easy for them to get their oars back and forth over the water.
I mean, we've said this a couple times today, but it has been a dream day for the conditions. Absolute dream. I was just talking to Dean Hammond, coxswain of the NTV men's crew. He's talking about what they're thinking for, what all the men's crews are thinking for the championship, and they're happy to report the winds are forecasted to stay low. Because I think they might know, you know, a weatherman on that NTV team.
Absolutely, yeah. I think they have a bit of an edge there.
Yeah, they got a bit of an advantage in predicting the weather there, but or we think they do.
Yeah.
So anyway, the winds are going to be low tonight is a key message for. They're holding the shell and stake draw at 4:30 p.m. So I don't know if it's past that now. But
no, exactly 4:30 now.
Yeah. So right now, upstairs of the boathouse, you have the top 10 crews of the day, so top 5 men, top 5 women's crews. The coxswain or a representative from their crew shows up. They select which boat they would like to use in the championship race, and they select their stake. And it's selected based on the order of your finish time. So the fastest crew gets their top pick of boat and stake, and the 5th place crew kind of just takes what's left from the boat availability and stake availability. So I believe tonight with a southwest wind, it'll be blowing either straight up the pond or it will be blowing from number 1 to number 5.
Yep.
So I would say that the crews tonight will base their lane selection on the wind forecast, but you know, or they may not, because it's such a low wind, they may not have to strategize too much there, depending on if they have a boat they really like or whatever it's going to take to get their key preference satisfied.
So it's a little bit longer now trying to get these guys set up, but we have lots of time and we do have a supper break coming up. Looks like we have the 4th crew just about getting into place there.
And these crews, I mean, you might think from home that these boats all look the same, but crews get their preferences and everybody likes a particular boat, or we had our best row in this boat, or we rode our best time in this boat. So crews definitely have a preference when it comes to selecting boats.
So I think the 4th crew there is just sort of getting in for their stake on stake 5, it looks like.
Yep, so stake 5 is closest to us here at the boathouse, and stake 1 closest to the marquee on the other side. Oh, we've got one crew still heading up to the head of the pond.
4 of the 5 are up there right now.
Perfect.
So the crew on stake 3, it appears, are heading to the top of the pond there now.
So this is, like we mentioned earlier, Universal Corporate Wear has a couple crews down here today. So this is one of their, at least their 2nd row, Universal Corporate Wear. And again, Lynn Hindy and her company, Universal Corporate Wear, is a great sponsor of the regatta, great advocate of the regatta. They actually got t-shirts made up this year of, you know, the big goose that's around the pond that squawks at everyone. Yeah. Almost everyone who's walked Kitty Vitty knows the goose that I'm talking about. Anyway, the rowers endearingly call this goose Mike or Frank or anyway, she got shirts done up with the goose and the goose's name on them, so it's pretty cute. I mean, it's a real, things like that every crew can share in are really nice, and they really bring community together down here at the boathouse. So kudos to Lynn for getting those shirts done up, and if I see one, I'm gonna get one.
Yeah, totally. And I actually saw earlier, I believe she was able to give one of them to the Prime Minister.
Oh!
Yeah, I think I saw it on social media on the lunch break. Yeah, so good on Lynn. Anyway, she's certainly taking advantage of it, so that's good for her.
Well, while he was getting Mike the Goose, you know, freebie t-shirts, I was kind of just peering at his motorcade going down Forest Road when I was on my lunch break. It was at least a dozen cars long, led by an accompanied escort by the RNC with the sirens going, and then there were 3 or 4 black big SUVs in the middle. I guess he was in one of them.
Yep.
I can't imagine it was anything else besides Justin Trudeau.
With his goose shirt.
With the goose shirt that he definitely was wearing.
So we got this crew now. They're just trying to get in there and line up. So it takes a lot of patience and organization for the coxswains in these boats to get these younger kids focused and get them straightened away up here at the top of the pond. You have to be very careful. Like you said, you're dealing with water and oars and boats. You know, you don't want anybody getting hurt. You want to make sure that they're comfortable and that they're going to be able to do what they want to do and just roll the race.
So we have the first squirt race starting 4:40, second one at 5. third one 5:20, and then the fourth squirt race is starting at 5:40 p.m. and that will be the last race on the regularly scheduled schedule before we break for the championship races at 6:30 p.m. and 7.
You'd almost think they had a strategy going here, waiting for the pond to go down.
Those squirts know what they're
Those
doing.
squirts are like the senior crews. You watch the senior crews when it comes to the championship, how they're going to meander and take their time getting to the top of the pond to keep hoping that it's going to settle down. That's probably what these guys are doing.
It looks like the last crew to line up is on stake 3 there, so as they take their positions, that is Matrix Construction there, getting lined up on stake 3, or about to get lined up on stake 3. So like we said earlier, the device that the coxswains are holding onto that keep them attached to the buoy for this time being are called a toggle. So that's a toggle they have in their hand. And sometimes if the coxswain asks for a touch from 1 and 2 and they pull too hard, the coxswain can get their shoulder yanked off. As if they drop the toggle at this time and they have to line up all over again, it can be a bit of a disaster.
Yeah.
So the lesson for 1 and 2, and I can say this because I'm 1, is that you have to touch lightly, and this is the only time in your rowing career where you're allowed to row as lightly as you can.
Exactly.
Because all the rest of the time you got to try and put as much as you can into it.
I remember years ago being down here, and Frank Wright had a hold of the toggle one time, and whoever the crew was that he was steering, number 1 hauled a little bit too hard, and Frank came right out of the boat.
Well, it can happen.
It can happen. It can happen. Yeah.
He wasn't letting go of that toggle.
No,
at least
that's
you knew
right.
that.
Yeah, because that is a challenge in itself to get lined up there and to get your crew. As you can see, the 2 crews top of the camera here now. They're trying to straighten up. Like I said, luckily the winds are cooperating, so it's not too bad. But it is a challenge, especially if we have a bit of wind and it's not going in your favor, to try and keep your boat lined up, because the coxswain actually should have a landmark down the pond in his sights, which will correspond with the buoy that he's trying to go to in the middle of the pond.
Yeah, and of course we heard earlier that it wasn't in a race, but after one of the races when the boats were kind of making their way back to the dock, or actually when they were in that kind of holding pattern in between the finish kegs and the shore, some of the crews actually knocked oars, and we know that's something that's discouraged by rowers and the staff here at the boathouse and the committee, because we all like to keep our boats in good shape so they can be used for years to come. So we're just teeing up race number 22 of the day, frontline action, squirt female number 1, the 4:40 p.m. race. I think we've just about got all 5 squirt crews touching here and just about ready to row. All right, so just like in the adult races, they will have a starter who says, are you ready number 1, are you ready number 2, and so on until are you ready number 5. If there's a problem, the coxswain raises their hand. As you can see there, number 4 has his or her hand up to indicate there's something not quite ready there.
No, and number 3 as well. You can see there's Santra back there. He's having trouble, I think, getting the toggle over the boat there.
Because sometimes what happens is the toggle, the rope, gets caught up in the rudder of the boat underneath. And so to free the rope of the rudder, the coxswain has to turn around, reach their arms underneath the boat, feel around for the rope and the toggle, free it up so that it can be an unrestricted pull out from the buoys. So of course you want to maximize your distance away from the buoys to get you started. You don't want to be leaving an inch behind if that's what it means to have the toggle straight.
Looks like the regatta committee is over there in the safety boat now, trying to give them some assistance.
And the safety boats will definitely be following these squirt races closely. Yeah, definitely something snaggled up there underneath. Oh, I think the sun just went behind the clouds. Thank goodness, because it was beating down on me pretty good there.
It's warm here for sure. Yeah.
This is a beautiful area we're standing in, the new winner's circle. It's beautiful artwork. I'm not sure who the artists were, but wow, it is absolutely stunning here.
All right, so it looks like they're pulling out a little further there now. Looks like we're all ready to go.
So this position that the squirts are sitting in now, we would call this the catch position. So they have their oars ready to go, take their first stroke, and bring them through the water. So right away, as we predicted, very high stroke rate for the squirts.
So it's a couple of minutes of rowing. Someone got a horn going. That's awesome. These squirts have so much family support down here.
They really do. This family support starts from a young age. These times range from 2:58 to 3:11 in time trials. So those are the personal best times for these squirt crews to beat.
So our Universal Corporate, we are on stake number 1. They had the fastest time, but these times are all pretty close, so this is going to be a really good race.
Oh, I have no doubt.
You can see out there now, it looks like, though, the crew on stake 1 are ahead right now. 47 seconds, so we did say, Amanda, what was the record for this one?
The female squirt record is 2:37.6, so keep your eyes on our unofficial clock, and we'll see, because with these conditions, anything can happen.
So they're going by the marquee there now, but what a close race.
It is a very close
seconds
race.
right there now.
It looks like stake 1 is ahead.
Yep.
And stake 4 is in second, but it is very, very close.
It is very close. It's exciting. Stake 4 is the St. John's International Airport. So we're 1:20. So in order for them to break a record now, we're about 30 or 40 seconds out.
And the sights and sounds of modern day regattas, we just heard the drone buzz by us. So 10 or even 15, 10 years ago, that's not a sound you would have heard,
No.
but I think the drones are here to stay. There will be drone coverage at every regatta from now on, because as you can see from the shot on your screen right now, it's absolutely beautiful. Gives very good perspective for the rowers from a technical perspective, as well as coaches, coxswains, and for the athletes themselves.
So it looks like team on stake 4, if we're looking at it from the right angle, they're after pulling out there. Does that look to you, Amanda?
Is this 1?
No, this is 5, I believe.
Okay.
Well, it's hard to tell with the drone.
Yeah, because if the...
No, that is stake 5. 1 is over under the bank there, see?
Okay.
Yeah.
It's close for first, it's close for second, and then...
So they're at 2:24 there now.
Yep, so that record of 2:37, I think it will probably stand for another year.
All right, so they're probably 10, 15, 20 seconds out maybe.
But they still can improve on their personal time from their time trials races.
So we got a bit of an odd angle there now, so it's kind of hard to tell who's going to be finishing first there.
And you know what? It's not about breaking records for every crew. Sometimes it's about getting out there and doing it and putting in your best effort, and that's what you're here for, and that's what these guys are doing, girls are doing right now. So you can see there the horn goes off to indicate the finish. It looked like that was stake 4 that came across, or maybe over on stake 1 they were finished a bit ahead of them.
Yeah.
And then 2 and 3, and followed by stake 5 coming in here now. That's the Evans New Leaf on stake 5.
Excellent. So now we have our next squirt race.
The next squirt race, okay, unofficial time of 2:55 for the winners, I believe, of that race. So great row by these young athletes, these developing rowers. Great to see them out there. All right, so as the next squirts queue up, we are going to take a short break and get right back to you after this.
All right, girls.
Mom, you said it's played again.
Workplace injury